Selamat siang teman-teman semuanya. Selamat
Siap,
siang menjelang sore. Terima kasih teman-teman sudah bergabung di Zoom maupun di YouTube. Kalau dilihat-lihat yang sudah daftar ini dari berbagai kota kabupaten di Indonesia ya. Ada dari Sulawesi, ada dari Sumatera, Jawa, Papua, bahkan juga ada. Wah, keren-keren nih teman-teman nih dari berbagai provinsi. Hai, selamat siang semuanya. Terima kasih sudah menjawab sapaannya di chat. Kalau saya saat ini di London, waktunya pagi ya, jam 7, tapi masih terlihat seperti jam 5 karena kayak subuh kalau di London nih, kalau di UK nih. Sambil menunggu teman-teman untuk bergabung, sesaat lagi kita akan memulai today's event, cracking the IELTS test. Sambil menunggu teman-teman untuk bergabung, mau tes atau cek ombak nih. Teman-teman di sini mayoritas sudah melakukan tes IELTS belum? Pernah melakukan tes IELTS sebelumnya?
pernah.
Di- Pernah ya? Mayoritas berapa kali nih udah coba nih? Bisa ditulis di kolom chat. Ada yang lebih dari 1 kali. Oh, ada yang bilang nih tahun depan kedua kalinya. Wow, jadi ini persiapan ya. Tahun depan berarti sebulan lagi nih. Menghitung hari, udah tahun depan. Ada yang belum pernah. Ada yang masih prediction test. Ada yang nunggu hasil kedua. Wah, semoga mendapatkan hasil yang terbaik ya. I know perjuangan untuk tes IELTS itu benar-benar menguras pikiran dan juga tenaga maupun waktu ya. Karena ini bukan bahasa Inggris, bukan bahasa ibu kita, bukan mother language, our mother language. So, ya, saya tahu perjuangan teman-teman pasti juga sangat luar biasa untuk mendapatkan hasil yang terbaik sesuai yang dibutuhkan oleh kampus masing-masing. Nah, kalau dilihat nih ya, yang daftar universitas ini mayoritas ada di Manchester, ada di UCL, University of Edinburgh, ada juga Imperial. Ada nggak yang daftar di Queen Mary University of London, Kimul? Oh, ada nih, Anissa. Oke, semangat ya. Semoga menjadi adik tingkat nih. Oh ya, mengingatkan teman-teman sebelum acara dimulai, mengingatkan nanti kalau misalnya ada pertanyaan, bisa ditulis di kolom komentar di Zoom meeting dan di YouTube juga bisa ditulis di kolom komentarnya. Nanti akan dibacakan oleh saya selaku moderator. Baik, teman-teman, mari kita mulai. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Good morning, good afternoon, selamat siang teman-teman semua yang ada di Indonesia, dan selamat pagi bagi saya dan juga teman-teman yang saat ini berada di UK atau di Inggris. Senang sekali saya Fatma Ayu yang akan menjadi moderator pada acara siang hari ini. Saat ini saya berkuliah S2 di Queen Mary University of London, QMUL, London, dengan mengambil jurusan Environmental Law, LLM. Dan saya mendapatkan beasiswa Chevening di tahun 2023-2024. Sebelum memasuki acara inti, saya ingin menyapa terlebih dahulu. I would like to greet our speakers today, our most honorable Grace Marcelina, Language Assessment Consultant, IELTS expert from British Council Indonesia Foundation. Hello, Grace. Thank you
Hi,
for joining us
Fatma.
today.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Grace.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this event.
Thank you. Okay, I also want to say hi to Narita Singer as the British Council officer. Good afternoon, Narita.
Hello, good morning, Fatma. Hi, everyone. Please stay tuned until this event is finished, so you can get a good benefit of this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Narita, for helping Chevening Body team throughout the preparation of this event. Thank you. Dan saya ingin juga menyapa teman-teman Sign Language Interpreters. Ada Kak Ciki dari Sulawesi Selatan, Pusat Layanan Juru Bahasa Isyarat, 8 years of experience as a Sign Language Interpreter. Hai Kak Ciki, selamat siang. Terima kasih sudah membantu kita. Dan juga ada Kak Ranum dari Kalimantan Timur, Pusat Layanan Juru Bahasa Isyarat, 6 years of experience as a sign language interpreter. Terima kasih Kak Ranum sudah membantu kita untuk membantu teman-teman difabel yang saat ini juga bergabung melalui Zoom meeting dan juga YouTube. Ada juga prize score terbaik atau top scorer of IELTS, ada Alvina Rucita, Theo Situmorang, dan Akyar Dini Zakiah. Halo guys, nantinya teman-teman ini akan membagi cerita atau membagi pengalaman bagaimana mereka ini bisa mendapatkan skor terbaik IELTS. Semoga ilmu dan kemampuannya juga menular untuk teman-teman semuanya. Dan selamat siang maupun selamat pagi teman-teman panitia dari CAI yang selalu semangat untuk membuat gebrakan-gebrakan terbaru dan juga menularkan atau memberikan wadah bagi teman-teman untuk belajar bersama seperti kegiatan pada siang atau pagi hari ini maupun Chevening Body. Terima kasih para mentor dan juga teman-teman yang sudah bergabung pada acara Cracking the IELTS Code. Ini luar biasa karena Chevening atau Chevening Alumni atau juga CAI selalu membuat kegiatan-kegiatan yang positif, salah satunya dengan membuat program untuk meningkatkan kemampuan dan juga menularkan ilmu kepada teman-teman untuk mendapatkan beasiswa. Salah satu ikhtiarnya adalah dengan membuat pelatihan Cracking the IELTS Code. So guys, this today's event, we will use both bahasa and English to make easier to understand. Dan juga selain itu, melalui Zoom, acara ini juga diikuti melalui YouTube. Nah, ada yang membuat istimewa, teman-teman yang sudah register melalui Zoom akan mendapatkan kesempatan untuk dimentori langsung oleh para mentor dari kakak-kakak CAI. If you guys have questions, please drop it via Zoom, chat box, or YouTube comments. Kalau ada pertanyaan, teman-teman bisa tulis pertanyaannya di Zoom chat box ataupun kolom komentar apabila melalui YouTube dengan format mentee's first name or mentor's first name, and then continue with your questions. And please guys, if you have the backgrounds like mine, please use backgrounds. Semoga background ini melambangkan Inggris, melambangkan UK, dan semoga bisa ketularan begitu ya, bisa mendapatkan beasiswa dan juga bisa berkuliah di Inggris maupun berkuliah di luar negeri sesuai dengan cita teman-teman sekalian. Agar lebih kompak, kita membuat atau juga memasang background yang sama. Dan kami juga meminta bantuan teman-teman untuk memberikan evaluasi di akhir acara. Please complete the evaluation form at the end of session, karena evaluasi ini penting bagi teman-teman panitia untuk mengevaluasi acara ini agar bisa membuat bagus atau membuat baik untuk kedepannya. Dan tentunya nantinya apabila teman-teman beruntung akan mendapatkan GoPay vouchers will be given to the lucky ones bagi teman-teman yang beruntung. Okay guys, we have several sessions in this event. First, we have 1.5 hours from our first speaker from British Council, how to crack the IELTS code. And then we will hear the testimony from top score IELTS. Next, for Zoom participants, move to breakout rooms, while the others, we will have Q&A sessions or discussion sessions with keynote speakers in 30 minutes. So without further ado, I will introduce our keynote speaker, Grace Marcelina Pasaribu. As a language assessment consultant and IELTS expert from British Council Indonesia Foundation, she graduated from Bandung Institute of Technology ITB, Faculty of Art and Design, Interior Design. She became English teacher in 2004, senior English teacher in the British Institute, ITB, until 2012, and a IELTS expert since 2016. She actively gives workshops, trainings, webinars, and also conferences. So I would like to invite Grace Marcelina. Hi, Grace. Please welcome.
Hi, Fatma. Thank you. That's quite long, yeah?
Yes.
Right. So
The time
it
is
is,
yours,
yeah,
Grace.
thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Hi, good afternoon, good morning to you in the UK. It's an honor for me to be invited and to be a part of this series. Welcome everyone to Securing Your LoA Series Volume 3, Cracking the IELTS Code, presented to you by Chevening Alumni Association Indonesia in collaboration with the British Council Indonesia Foundation. Now, I could see from the chat earlier, Fatma asked you if you have taken the test, or if you have, how many times have you tried this interesting test, if I may say so. Some of you have done it once, some of you have done it more than once, and I guess the majority haven't done the test or sit in the test. So today we're going to have a closer look at what is expected and what types of questions, what problems might arise in the test itself. Yeah. So I hope you're sitting somewhere nice, comfortably. Have a pen or pencil and paper or notebook with you for you to make notes. Yeah. Now we're going to begin with the presentation. Right. So if this is your first time taking the IELTS test and or attending an IELTS webinar, let me tell you briefly about the test. It is the International English Language Testing System, proudly co-owned by the British Council, IDP IELTS Australia, and Cambridge Assessment English. It is similar to other English language proficiency tests where it is designed to assess the English language ability of those who intend to study, work, or live where English is the main language of communication. It is accepted in more than 11,500 institutions around the world. So IELTS opens more doors for you. Like right now, I'm sure you are focusing on getting that acceptance in one of your dream universities in the UK. So to have the IELTS score actually gives you a wider chance. The 9-band scale in the IELTS score is awarded, as well as individual scores per subtest. It ranges from 1 to 9, right? As the test result is valid for 2 years, it means that within that time period, you can use it to apply to anywhere, basically. Yeah. Although there is no passing or failing mark, you should check with the receiving institution what score you need to apply. Now, at the beginning, IELTS was only accepted in a few countries. Of course, Commonwealth countries, yeah, the UK, obviously, the United States, and Australia. These are the most commonly, the most popular destinations for students, especially from Indonesia. And Just one thing that I would like to remind you that before you sit the exam, make sure that you bring the ID that you use when you register for the test. It's not, I would say it will be quite embarrassing if you cannot sit the test just because you didn't bring the right ID. Why do I have to mention this? Because this happens a lot. Yeah. So if you register for the test using your passport, make sure you bring your passport on the day. Now I'm going to show you some numbers. I think we can make this a little bit interactive. I think I saw some participants who attended. I had a webinar as well this morning, so I think I saw some of you who were there. I think you know the answers already, but just try to participate. I think that should be fine, just to check whether you still remember or not. You can type in your answers in the chat box. I will give you one example. 1989. So this is the year when IELTS was established. Yeah. How about this? What do you think 3 to 5 here means? Frequently people take tests. Okay, 3 to 5 times. Is that what you mean? Yes, it is Bunga Kirana. Yes, days of result. Yeah. So now we focus on IOC. We call it IELTS on computer. So we have two types of IELTS tests. IOP, that's IELTS on paper, and we've got IOC, IELTS on computer. But now we only have IELTS on paper, especially for those of you in Jakarta. I think almost everywhere in Indonesia now we've only got IOC, right? So for IOP, IELTS on paper, the test results could take up to 13 working days. So if you take the IELTS on computer, you will get faster results, just in case you need to retake the test and you have a tight deadline. It doesn't mean that I would recommend you to take another test, but just in case. All right. Next one up, 4 million. What do you think 4 million is about? Language users, right? Close. It's not the price. Yeah, it's not the test fee. Yes, almost. It's actually not number of the people or the test takers. It's more into the number of tests, the number of IELTS exams, not the candidates, the frequency, yeah, the number worldwide pre-pandemic. Yeah, the number of sessions. Yes, you got it. Yes. So there were 4 million sessions, 4 million IELTS tests around the world pre-pandemic. 4 is test sections, correct. Yes. So there are indicator. Yeah, it's test sections. Yeah. So we've got 4 sections of the test. We've got listening, reading, writing, and speaking. 250. Does anybody knows? Does anybody know? Time. So for those of you who answered writing task 2, you must have taken the test before. Yeah, right. So yes, 250 words is the minimum number of words expected in task 2 of the writing test. Okay. 9 is yes, well done, the highest score. If you can get an overall band score of 9, you can even become an examiner and do the test every 2 years. Okay. Now, last one, 11,000. I think I gave you a hint earlier. So there are more than 11,000 of institutions that accepts IELTS around the world, right? Thank you, guys. Now, today, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to look at the listening, reading, speaking, and writing tests, what's in each of them, and then how you are assessed. If time, we can do some practice activities, especially for the reading section later on. We've also got some practice for the listening part. I will also share some useful tips for the exam and provide you with some valuable resources to help with your preparation. Let's begin with the listening test. Now, again, you can type in your answers in the chat box. Just to review, or to see how much you know about it, how many questions are there in the listening test? Very good. All of you got the right answer. 40, well done. And how many sections are there? 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. There are actually 4, yeah? Okay. So it goes gradually from the easiest in section 1 to a more challenging task in section 4. Yeah, not difficult. I'm an optimist. So easiest to more challenging. And how long is it? Ooh. It's 30 minutes, yeah? If you're taking the IELTS on computer, you have 2 minutes at the end to check your answers. If you take the IELTS on paper, you have 10 minutes of transfer time. So where do candidates write their answers? This is a bit, there are 2 versions. If you're taking the IOP, of course, you would write it on the questions sheet, and then transfer to the answer sheet for the chat box. Yes. Okay, interesting. So if you're taking the IOC or IELTS on computer, of course, you just type it on your keyboard and then you can see it on screen. Is spelling important? Absolutely, yeah. Okay, spelling is important, of course. There is no mercy in IELTS, unfortunately. Wrong spelling, it's wrong. Right. Now, let's have a look at the overview of the test. Basically, you know that there are 40 questions in 4 sections. That means there are 10 questions in each section. You have 30 minutes to answer the questions, and you can only listen to it once. So focus. It's very important. Don't get distracted. Now let's take a closer look at each one. Yes. So part 1 is a social dialogue. For example, a receptionist and a customer, or a bank teller and a customer trying to open an account. In part 2, you will hear 2 people. It's a social monologue, just one person. Social monologue can be a train announcement or a schedule, radio broadcast, a tour guide. And in part 3 and part 4, the topic is the same. It's academic. Yeah. Now here you can see that in part 1 and 2, it's of general interest. In part 3, you might hear a conversation between students and a professor, or even 2 to 4 students discussing a project. In part 4, the most challenging part, you will hear an academic monologue. It can be a professor giving a lecture, or even an expert giving an advice on certain profession. That is in part 4. What is expected in section 1? Yeah. Normally, it is a social or transactional dialogue between 2 speakers. You will always hear 2 speakers and listen for specific information. that is details. You be careful with distractors. Sometimes the question asks you to listen to numbers being spelled out or words being spelled out, and sometimes they will correct it. For example, my mobile number is 08123445. Oh no, hang on a minute. It's 08132445. Make sure you make notes or write in the correct answer. Some typical scenarios will be booking a facility, asking about specific courses, or perhaps about travel services. In section 2, you will hear a talk or short speech on a topic of a general interest. You're listening for specific factual information. You might need to complete a diagram, table, note, gap fill, or even sentence completion. And here are some typical scenarios. Section 3. In this section, you will hear a discussion between 2 to 4 people in an academic setting. In this case, you're listening for attitudes and opinions, as well as specific information. As I mentioned earlier, it could be a discussion about a research project or assignment, a talk and then some questions about a specific topic, or an interview with an expert on a certain academic topic. The most challenging part is to focus on one person giving a talk, most commonly is a professor. Then you need to make sure you listen for ideas, details, and attitudes or views related to a certain research, environmental problems, that's quite trending for the last 10 years or so, or even self-improvement strategies or tips, I'll say. So how to do well, what to do well in the listening test? First thing is to identify the situation. Where do you think the conversation takes place? Who are the speakers? And what the general topic is. You will always be given some time to look at a set of questions. For example, you will hear, now you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. So while you're skimming through the questions, try to predict the answers too. Ask yourselves these questions. Do you need to listen for a name, number, or address? Is it a noun, adjective? What do I need? Yeah. What keywords can help you to find the answer from the recording? There is a variety of question types, so make sure that the instructions are understood. Some sample questions are, write no more than 3 words and or a number. Write no more than 1 word and or a number. Okay, so for example, if the instruction says no more than 3 words, but you write 4 words, even though the correct answers is within those 4 words, it's still wrong because you don't follow instruction. Okay. Now, before you listen to the next part of the conversation, try to anticipate the next question. Right. So these are the general strategies, but specifically for sections 2 to 4, you can also do this. If you see tables or pictures or diagrams, survey and skim them. Okay. The keywords can help you to find, like when you actually listen, it can help you to like as in you're listening for a guidance, yeah, the keywords, then you listen, then you can make notes and then answer the question. Practice anticipating the next question where you're listening or writing the answer to the previous one. You have 2 minutes at the end to check your answers, so don't worry too much about the correct spelling or grammar at this stage. You can go back and forth. If you want to know more about this, about IELTS on computer, I think we have quite a lot of resources or sources on the internet, what it's actually like. Yeah. Now, there are 6 types of questions in the listening test. Multiple choice is the classical one, right? And then we've got that. And forms, notes, and summary completion. If you are familiar with the types of questions, it will be easier for you to apply the right strategy or strategies. Yeah. Now I'm going to lead you through just to highlight some samples of the question types. Here is the multiple choice question. This looks easy. Yes, wait until you see a longer version. But some tips for this. Again, predicting, look at the possible answers. Be careful with distractors. Like if you remember from the previous slide, 6 days or 8 days, 6, 8, 10 days. The speaker might say, it's almost a fortnight. Or it's more than a week. Yeah. Oh, hang on, it was less than a week. So from 8 days, you need to change your answer to 7 days or 6 days. That's distractors, yeah. Be careful with qualifying words and phrases. When it says some, it's not the same as a few. And lastly, look for keywords in the rubric. For example, when you start the track, so you don't listen where it ends. Right. Maybe the speaker discusses more than one regions, but it asks you to look at the Samara region. Here is a sample of a sentence completion type. You can read around the gaps to predict what word you need. Yeah. Obviously, for the first one, we need numbers. And for the second one, we might need a noun or an adjective and noun. Here's a sample of a labeling of a plan. Sometimes you might also need to label a diagram, for example, a piece of equipment, a chart, a pie chart or a graph, or a process. For example, how rain is formed. Yeah. Now, some tips for this kind of this question type is to make sure you understand what the plan, diagram, or map is about. Look carefully at the organization or layout. Make sure you know the starting point of the description of a building. For example, it's in the north, in the south, or on the west side on a map. The entrance is always a good idea of the floor plan. Make sure you know what the axis of the charts and graphs show or is about. And you make sure you know where the questions are on the diagram, because they're often not in a linear order. Like first from the entrance, you go to the west, and then after that, you go back to the entrance and then turn to the right, to the east. Now we're going to do a quick practice on labeling. So make sure you have your notes ready. Still the same plan. Then later you can type in your answer in the chat box.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
Now, If you can take a look at your plans, you'll see Branley Castle has 4 towers joined together by a high wall with the river on 2 sides. Don't miss seeing the Great Hall. That's near the river in the main tower, the biggest one, which was extended and redesigned in the 18th century. If you want to get a good view of the whole castle, you can walk around the walls. The starting point's quite near the main entrance. Walk straight down the path until you get to the south gate, and it's just there. Don't go on to the north gate. There's no way up from there. There'll shortly be a show in which you can see archers displaying their skill with a bow and arrow. The quickest way to get there is to take the first left after the main entrance and follow the path past the bridge. Then you'll see it in front of you at the end. If you like animals, there's also a display of hunting birds, falcons and eagles and so on. If you go from the main entrance in the direction of the south gate, but turn right before you get there instead of going through it, you'll see it on your right, past the first tower. At 3 p.m, there's a short performance of traditional dancing on the outdoor stage. That's right at the other side of the castle from the entrance and over the bridge. It's about 10 minutes walk or so. And finally, the shop. It's actually inside one of the towers, but the way in is from the outside. Just take the first left after the main entrance, go down the path and take the first right. It's got some lovely gifts and souvenirs. Right, so we're just arriving.
Mm-hmm.
That is the end of section 2.
Right.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So that's a sample of, this is section 2, yeah? Right, I can see your answers in the chat box. Well done. Very good, okay. 1, 2, 3, okay. All right, so starting point for walking the walls is age. Well done, guys, very good. And then the bow and arrow display. Yeah, you heard follow the path past the bridge. So it's G for 17. And then 18, it is F as in fox. Yeah, most of you got it correctly. Well done. You'll see it on your right, yeah? And the 19 is A, very good. Yes, traditional dancing. And then 20 is E as in echo. Very good. Yes. All right. So this is a sample of a labeling question type in section 2. Right. The next one up is matching. Right. So in here, you will see a list of options and a list of questions. Be careful, don't mix them up, guys. And the answers, of course, won't be in the right order. So for example, number 1 can be an F, number 2 can be an A, yeah? Some tips here. Synonyms are very important. What you hear might not be the ones that you read in the question. So for example, you won't hear or read expensive. You might read or hear costly or even not cheap. Outdated could be old-fashioned or even stuffy. Be careful of negative sentences, even double negative. It won't cost you a great deal means it is cheap. Right. Now, moving on to the next type, which is classifying, pretty similar to the previous one. We've got ABC here. Make sure you write the correct letter instead of the phrase itself. So, for example, you don't answer number 1, improved working conditions with in the late 16th century, but just write B or type B. In this case, you can use the same letter more than once. Make sure you focus on the information you need. Again and again, synonyms. Here's a summary of your listening tips. Feel free to take a screenshot when we get to the end of the list. Of course, the last one is only valid for the IELTS on paper test. Yeah. Right. If you have questions, please write it down on your notebooks first or paper. We will address them at the end. Okay. Now we're moving on to the reading section. So for the reading test, it's pretty similar. You have 40 questions, but there are only 3 sections. You have 60 minutes to complete the whole test, but you have 20 minutes approximately for each section. In this case, one section means one passage. Yeah. So for one passage, you could have 12 to 14 questions. Within that section, you might have 2 to 3 blocks of questions. Or you can also say types of questions. For example, number 1 to number 4, you would get true, false, not given. Number 5 to number 10, you would get sentence completion. Number 11 to number 12, it might be a multiple choice question. The topics are, the passages are based on authentic texts such as magazines, journals, books, and newspapers, right? So the materials are similar to university style reading, and they may contain nonverbal materials such as charts, diagrams, or others. If there are specific terms, a simple glossary is provided, so you don't have to worry about not understanding certain terms. Remember, prior knowledge to the topic is not required. Everything you need to answer the questions are there. So what are the common topics of the reading passages? Keeping yourself updated with recent news can help you expand your vocabulary in a variety of topics. So try to read an article, maybe a newspaper article in different topics. For example, if you're fond of sports, guys, maybe, yeah, try to spend about 15 minutes a day. Yeah, maybe you want to take a shower, but someone's in the bathroom. Use that time to read a short article. I think we have quite a lot of free apps, free news apps. So maybe BBC or I don't know. What else do you guys watch? Read. Whichever news channel that you prefer, make sure they're in English. You might always find new vocabulary every day, even the ones that you knew, but you don't use it often, you might forget. Yeah. Here are some common problems with IELTS reading. Apart from vocabulary, I guess that will be everyone's number one problem, yeah? Vocabulary. Similar to the listening test, if you're not familiar with the question types, you don't know which strategy to use or to apply. Secondly is time management. Sometimes when someone is stuck in one question, you'll never know. You would spend like 10 minutes alone to try to answer one question. So time management is very important, right? What can you do to help you in this area? Try to maybe at least you know which section of the passage that contains the answer to the question. Use the strategies that we're going to have a look at today. And if you're stuck with one word that you don't know the meaning of, you can try to at least guess the meaning from the context. You don't have to understand the meaning of every single word. Yeah. So what are the skills that I mentioned earlier? These skills can help you a lot, especially in your reading test. Now, we've got 3 reading sub-skills. We've got skimming, that is reading quickly, to get a general idea or the gist. Then we have scanning, that is looking for specific keywords or details. And we also have detailed or intensive reading. What is the difference between the three? Now, let's have a look at an example. Think about which reading skills you would use to do these tasks. A restaurant menu. Would you skim it, scan it, or you do intensive reading on a restaurant menu? For example, skimming, okay, skimming. Right, then it stops. Right. So, for example, if you go to your regular restaurant, you know what you want. You might not even look at the menu because you know what you want, right? But if you go to a restaurant, especially a new one, you would want to know what they offer. Like, what do they have? Is it Western or European? Is it Indonesian? So you would like skim it. What do they offer? Right. And then if you, oh, okay, I think I want to go with pasta. Then you go to pasta and then, I want spaghetti bolognese. So you would scan spaghetti bolognese. Yeah. Right. A football result of your favorite team on the net. What would you do, guys? Yay. Scanning. You know the teams, you know when they played, you know when the match was, you want to know the score. Scanning. You would scan for the team's names and the score. Right. Newspaper. What would you do? Printed newspaper. Right. Intensive reading. All right, thank you, NC. Skimming then intensive. Yeah, you would skim for articles that you are interested in, right? You don't read newspapers from front page to the back, as in you want to memorize it. But you would skim for articles or sections that you're interested in first, and then when you found one, you would do intensive reading on it. Okay. A letter giving the results of a job interview you went to. Scanning? Do I get the job or not? Yes. Intensive. Okay. Would you scan or do intensive reading? Accepted, right? Just like reading your LoA. Do you get it or not? Right? So you would scan it first. Yeah. And then maybe you can do intensive reading after that. For example, if you don't get the job, yeah, they might give you feedback on what you should improve more on. Next one up is a letter from your boyfriend or girlfriend. I know it's not a common occasion where people write a letter to their girlfriends or boyfriends. Intensive reading. Okay. Depends on the condition of the relationship. Yes, of course. Okay. Is he or she is trying to break up with me? Maybe not. You wouldn't do an intensive reading there. Okay. If it's good news, yeah, intensive reading. When you keep it. Last one, guys, novel. Agree. Intensive reading. I had some students who actually scan, well, not skim, to the end. If it has a happy ending, he would read the novel. It's not a good thing, guys. That's not how you read a book. Yeah. Okay. Right. So let's have a look at the question types in the reading test. So you know by now that there are 6 question types in the listening test. There are 11 actually. Here is 10. Yeah. So you might find some of these question types in the reading test. Make sure that you familiarize yourself with these before the test and then learn the strategies to get the correct answer, right? What I would suggest you to do is to get some practice test books. We've got Cambridge IELTS practice test books from book 1 to book 20, the latest one. So every year, Cambridge Assessment, CUP, Cambridge University Press, they published a collection of IELTS practice test book. So it's got 4 practice tests. They are official tests that will be like 2 to 3 years back. They've got the answer key at the back, even the sample of the writing tests with the examiner's comment. It's a good idea to practice for listening and reading, especially if you can get the audio materials, that will be great. But for the reading part, you can practice with your own pace. So try to spend about maximum 2 weeks before your test date to do this practice. At first, you don't have to stick to the 60 minutes time limit, but make sure you time yourself. Yeah. So try a couple of time practice tests. You can try 60 minutes and then see, I haven't finished it. And then go back and look, which one took me a longer time to do it. Okay. As you practice along, as you move along, try to increase your speed so you can finish everything within 60 minutes. Make sure you know, because there's an answer key at the back. If you take that IELTS practice test book, find which one or which question types you are weakest at, and then try to do more practice in that area. Yeah. For example, true, false, not given is everyone's favorite. Yeah. Also matching headings. Now, dealing with time management, it's pretty similar to what I mentioned earlier. If you practice at home, you can try to read the questions quite slowly. This is 2 weeks before your test date, guys, not on the day. Yeah. Underline the keywords in the questions, right? Look for paraphrasing or synonyms in the text and underline them. Keep doing this until you can actually do it without underlining the keywords. And do it under 60 minutes. If you don't finish the exam, don't panic. If it's necessary, do the questions you're good at first, and then your weakest at the end. Okay. Next tips is to establish the context. Use titles, subheadings, or nonverbal materials, such as pictures, to guess what you're going to read about. Don't spend more than 2 or 3 minutes to skim the text just to get an idea of what the topic is, right? So this skill can be increased by practicing it at home. Identifying topic sentences is also important, especially for the matching headings, yeah? Matching paragraphs and headings. Now, finding information in the text, again, keywords, okay? Scanning and skimming skills, not skimming and skim. Right, and then predict the kinds of synonyms you might encounter in the text. Sometimes they may have the same keywords as the questions and the text. If you feel more comfortable in knowing what the text is about, you can do so. Yeah, skim through the text before you go to the questions. I would personally recommend you to go straight to the questions and then begin with the easiest and the quickest type of question that requires you to scan for the answers. Yeah. The last part is to deal with unknown vocabulary. Again, don't panic if you don't know the meaning of the word. Although you're taking the IELTS on computer, you don't have access to online dictionary. Go have a look at the whole sentence to predict the meanings of the word. Look at the words that surround the vocab item. Okay. And how is it is formed? Is it a noun? Is it an adjective? Is it a verb? And then there's got to be some background knowledge of the subject and the situation. There's got to be somewhere there. Yeah. Everything you need to answer the question is there in the text, so don't panic. I'll show you one example. In this sentence, there must be some words that you know the meaning of. Disrespectful, respect. This is a negative prefix. So it's got to be something that is not nice. For example, towards the referee. I think almost everyone knows a referee, right? So this person shows a negative something to a referee. That's why he was sent off. Sent off is the past of send off, go. And penalize, penalty, yeah, something like that. So you can always guess. Yeah, he got punished basically. Right. So you might not get the exact meaning of the word, but you can at least guess what it means. So you are in the right direction. Right. Everyone's favorite, true, false, not given. So in this type, you must say true if the statement agrees with the information in the text. If it contradicts, you must say false. If you can't find anything about it in the text, you should say not given. Now I'm going to show you a short article. Please skim through. And here are the questions. Right. You can type in your answers in the chat box, number 1, 2, and 3. You've got 1. Yes. Number 1 is true. Where can you find this? Paragraph 1. Make sure you know where it's taken from, yeah? So, yeah, it's a good practice just to make sure that you got the right answer. Paragraph 1, crime involving credit cards is increasing in Europe. So here we've got the rising tide of payment card fraud across Europe, yeah? So it's true. And number 2, when you use chip and PIN, you need to sign for your purchase. This is false, of course, because the new system uses chip technology, entering your PIN into a keypad, just as you would at a cash machine, eliminating the need for your signature. So number 2 is false. Number 3, very good, eliminating the need. If you forget your PIN is mentioned, is stated in the text, but it doesn't say anything about the bank can provide a new one. So this one is a not given. Yeah. But then, of course, this is a very simple question. Yeah. Very simple text and very simple questions. Right. Now, the overall skills and strategies for the reading test. Basically, survey the text. Make sure you know what it's about. Use whatever is available to help you orientate yourself to the text. Skim for general info. Scan for keywords. Use the organization of the passage to help you to locate the right answer. Use vocabulary strategies and understand the coherence and cohesion in the text, right? So that is the end for the reading part. If you have questions, make sure you write them down. We might address them after this. Now we're moving on to the most anticipated, I guess, the writing test. Right. Since everyone here wants to go to the UK, I'm sure everyone's taking the academic module. Yeah. As you know that we have two modules in the IELTS test. There's the general training and the academic module. The difference is only in the reading and the writing parts. So in the writing part or writing test, the difference is only in task 1. Task 2 is the same. For task 1, academic, you should describe or you need to write a report describing a chart. For general training, you need to write a letter. In task 2, for both academic and general training, you need to write an essay, basically either descriptive or comparative. You should write at least 150 words for task 1 and at least 250 words for task 2. Doesn't mean that you write 50 words, you get extra score. No, not necessarily so. Yeah, just basically you need to address the task. Recommended time is there, but you can do whichever you want first. We would recommend you to do task 2 first. Yeah. After this, we're going to see why, but make sure you answer both questions. Now let's begin with the writing task 1. Okay. So how many task 1 types are there? Does anybody know? Does anybody know how many task 1 types are there? Especially those who have taken the test before. Two. Okay. Cold. More. Okay, more. 6, a bit too many. Yes, well done. 5. Yeah, so there are 5 types of chart that you might find in writing task 1. Right. So we've got this. Tables, pie chart, or diagram or process. That's the last one. Yeah. Now you can get, if you're lucky, you get only one type of this. If you're extremely lucky, you get 2 types of these. Okay. Right. So I'm going to, in the next few slides, I'm going to show you a sample of each one. Here is a line graph. This is a bar chart. Here is tables. This is real, guys. This is the average IELTS scores academic in 2018. See how much Indonesia got. Yeah, still okay among other countries in Asia, Southeast Asia, especially. And here is pie charts. So it can be 3 charts, 3 pie charts in the same task. There's diagram and process. And here comes maps. It can be about the same area in 2 different times. Here's a sample of a combination, we'll say. There's a bar chart and table. Right. You need to make sure that you understand what's the relation between the charts. Okay. Right. Now, writing is assessed based on 4 criteria. We've got task achievement or task response for task 2. So this is the degree to which you have understood and fully answered the question. And then we have coherence and cohesion. This is the way you have organized or structured and link your paragraphs, sentences, and ideas. Basically, is it easy to follow your ideas? Do you jump around, like from the beginning of the period, go back to the end, then to the middle, then go back to the beginning? So that's not a good paragraph, not good paragraphing. And then, of course, grammar. Oh, sorry, lexical resource first. This is about the variety of vocabulary you use and the accuracy with which you use it. Now, the last part, everyone's favorite as well, grammar. Now, this is about the variety or range of grammar you use and the accuracy with which you use it. I would recommend you guys to download one of these band descriptors. You can check out IELTSasia.org. So you can focus, for example, if you aim for a 7 in your writing task, okay, highlight that in the table, band descriptor, so you know what you need to do to get a band 7. Here's a sample of a calculation, how they actually rate your writing score. Let's say your task achievement is a 5. The others are 6. Your overall score is a 5.5. It's not a 6. Yeah. It's always dragged down, not up. It's not a 5 though. Here's a sample of the band descriptors. And here's what I meant earlier. So if you want to get a 7, so if you focus there, you highlight that band score. Task achievement, what do you need to do? You need to make sure that you present a clear overview of the main trends, okay? And for coherence and cohesion, make sure you logically organize this information and ideas. There's a range of cohesive devices appropriately used. Use sufficient range of vocabulary, less common lexical items, occasional errors. And lastly, use a variety of complex structures. Okay. Now let's take a quick look on task achievement. Yeah, here is what I mentioned earlier. Make sure you understand what the chart is about. Focus on the task and the topic. Make sure you have enough words. Make sure you have all the important details and sufficient detail, not too much, but not too little. Make sure the data and details are accurate because the examiners will check. You might think, just write 45%, but in the chart it says 4%. They will check and it affects your score. Make sure you also have a clear overview of the diagram. Right. What is an overview? Overview is very important in your writing task 1. Yeah, it is not just an introduction to the topic. It basically summarizes the most significant trends or features from the information in the diagram. Now we're going to have a look at an example. Before that, let's see how it plays in the descriptor. If you have no overview, your TA, we call it, is maximum band 5. If there is an attempt of an overview, you can get a 6. If you're able to present a clear overview, you'll get a 7. So overview matters. Here's a sample of a UK telephone calls by category 1995 to 2002. As you see, there are 3 call types. What is the most significant feature? So significant feature in charts, we try, it means that we need to identify the trends. There are three trends, basically. Increase, decrease, remain. Yeah, remain can be remain steady, remain the lowest, or even remain the highest. Like you can see what is the highest here is local fixed line. Tends to go up and then back down. And the other two tend to show an increasing trend. Yeah. So here you see the national and international fixed line and mobiles have shown dramatic or gradual increase. Make sure you are able to use those terms. Yeah. A dramatic increase or increase dramatically, significantly, or gradually. Yeah. A steady increase, perhaps. So let's have a look at the sample of an overview. Do not use these ones. Obviously, there were many significant changes. Yes. Can you be more specific? But specific doesn't mean with details and numbers and percentages. You need to show what increase, what decrease, what remains. The local fixed lines were used the most. Do we only see local fixed lines? No. So the idea is for the reader to be able to visualize the chart without looking at it. That's your job. To describe a chart in a way that whoever is reading it can visualize the chart. So these are bad examples of an overview. So what is a good overview? By reading this, we can tell, oh, there's a national and international line, fixed line calls, and then there's mobile calls. They both increase. There's another one, oh, there's a local line, fixed line calls that rose and fell over the period to its original level. This is a good overview. Now we've got some more overviews, yeah? This is too general. Do we know what the chart is about? Okay, is it only working women? So only that? X was the highest and Y was the lowest. Anything else? Can you explain more? What process? What is involved in the process? Was it complex or easy? The process started with the gathering of cocoa beans and finally chocolate is made. But the process of what? Is it making a chocolate milkshake? Was it easy? Was it complex? The last one, we can tell what the chart is about. Yeah. There are 4 stages: preparation of the fish, cooking, smoking stages, and packaging and delivery. Right. Here's a quick look on an overview, a map. Yeah, this one's taken from British Council of Vietnam. Now on top, you can see a map of an area in 1990. At the bottom is the map of the same area in 2005. Now, if you think of an overview, do you need to think of the trees? Are the trees important? Railway, yes. The trees are not more important than the railways. Yeah. So we can tell that in the first map, yeah, the map on the top, you can use the directions, the wind, yeah, north, you can say in the northern part of the town, there used to be a big house in the northern part of the lake. Yeah. On the eastern part, there used to be a small house, but these are demolished to make way for apartment blocks, right? So you can see that the town has become more modern in 2005. Yes, trees are important. I agree with you, but not in the description of the chart, yeah, or the map. Trees are important for us. But here you can say that now in the new map, sorry, with the other charts, when you describe the trends, you can say that something increase, decrease, or remain. Yeah. For maps, changes in a map or a plan of a building, you can say what increased in size or what decreased in size or remain as it was. In this case, the lake remains as it was. But some changes would be like, for example, anybody wants to try? What changes? What decrease in size? Or what increase in size? Railway can be said like now there's a railway from the western part of the town along the coast to the railway station. Because it wasn't there in 1990. The town has a factory now and an airport and supermarket. So make sure you know which key features that are important to report. This is slightly too general. Sorry, number 1 is not general enough. Number 2 is too general and doesn't really describe anything. Number 3 is good. Right? So how does key points affect your score? If you're able to present some key features, but some may be irrelevant, inappropriate, or inaccurate, you can still get a 6. If you only copy the details, we call it recounts detail mechanically, that's a band 5. Sometimes, even if you don't provide any data like numbers or percentage, you get a 5. If you only report like 5 out of 10 key features, you still get a 5. If you only report 1 out of 10, obviously you don't cover all key features. That's a band 4. And if you confuse the key features with details, that is if, for example, you write the overview with details, numbers, percentages, you get a 4. Plus if they're wrong. Okay. Right. Now, we're going to move on to task 2. Everyone's favorite. Right. Can we do the poll question now? Maybe with Oki? I'm going to, there's a poll question to see how much you know about question task, writing task 2, guys. For those of you who are watching this session from YouTube, I will show you the questions on the slides. Okay, Fatma, who is going to launch the poll questions?
Okay, guys, please help Grace to launch the poll question.
Yay,
Yeah,
there we go.
it's
Thank
already
you.
good.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Yes, we can. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Okay. Right. So if you're in Zoom, guys, you can just click on the answer that you think is correct. For those of you in joining us from YouTube, you can have a look at the questions on my slide, minus the answers though. If you're in Zoom, you can just answer it in the poll. Okay. Here are questions 4 and 5. Right. We're closing the poll questions soon. It ends in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. All right. Can we share the results? Maybe Oki?
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. Can we see?
Yes, I
Okay.
can. I can only see my own result. Yes. All right.
Um,
Awesome. Okay. Thank you, Oki. Yeah. Now,
okay.
yes. Because we are still on this slide, number 6, not a marking criterion is task achievement. Yeah, that is for task 1. Okay, which is not an essay type you might write in task 2. That is describing a process. Yeah. Okay. Right. So what's in writing task 2? Everyone's favorite, not? Right. So basically the assessment criteria are the same. The only difference is in this part, task response. Because in task achievement, you need to report on a chart. Yeah. So describing the trends, significant information. While in task 2, you need to respond to a question, whether do you agree or disagree? To what extent do you agree or disagree? The other 3 criteria are the same. The final mark is, of course, the mean average of the 4 criteria. So they will mark your task 1, okay, and then task 2, right? So at the end, the score of your task 1, let's say you got a 7 in task 1, but you got a 5.0 in task 2, add another 5. So 7 plus 5 plus 5 divided by 3. That's your overall writing score. It's a 5.5, yeah? Not a 6. If you got a 5 in task 1, you got a 7 in task 2. So 5 plus 7 plus 7, that's 19. Your overall is 6.0. So it's important to focus on task 2 first. Because in task 1, you already got the chart. It should be easier for you to describe the chart. Yeah. Now, what is the difference in task response? Here, oh, sorry, too fast. Okay, right. Again, you can find this you can download the descriptor. Yeah. If you focus on band 7, make sure you present a clear position throughout the response. Agree or disagree. I wouldn't recommend you to be neutral. Don't say it depends. Only for the sake of the test, choose a side. If you don't have enough reasoning to support your position, You can go to the other side. Nobody will know. It's not a test to see whether you're a good person or not. It's a test of your language skills. Yeah. Okay. Here are the common types of questions in writing task 2. Okay. So do you agree or disagree with the statement? Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? Discuss both sides and give a point of view. For the first 3, I would strongly recommend you guys to write both sides first before you present your opinion. Okay. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Here you can choose a side and then present your supporting reasons. In this case, you also need to mention how strong you feel about it. I firmly believe that I strongly agree. Yeah. I completely disagree. That adverb is crucial. Yeah. To show how strong, because to what extent means how far. You need to show how far you agree or disagree with it. And lastly is the 2-part questions where you might need to say why or what the causes are of a problem. What are the possible solutions? So you need to address both. Or is it a positive or a negative development? Right. What's needed in planning? Planning is very important, guys. If you don't have a good outline, you don't know what to write. Make sure you analyze the question, identify what you need to talk about, what to write about. Quickly brainstorm ideas and examples. Make sure you know where you stand. From the list of ideas, select and organize your main points. Make sure you write enough in time. Don't forget to hit that save. I think it's automatically save. There's a word count feature in the IELTS on computer, so you don't need to count word by word. It's there at the bottom. Yeah. Saves you a lot of time. Also, make sure you proofread and do some self-correction. In the next few slides, I will show you sample questions of each type of question. Right, so first thing is to identify the topic and then what you need to do. Agree or disagree. Here comes the next one. Basically, this is high sales of popular consumer goods, power of advertising, real need of the society. Agree or disagree? How far? This is the 2 questions. Basically, owning a home versus renting one. Why? Is it positive or negative? Don't be too overwhelmed with the wordings. From the first sentence, you only need to focus on car. What you need to discuss is the alternative form of transport. Should it be encouraged? And should international laws introduced to control this? Do you agree or disagree? To simplify this, you can ask yourself these 2 questions. Sample ideas, how to brainstorm ideas, yeah? Now, which part do you agree with? I agree with the alternative transport. Yeah. More cars mean more pollution. It's unhealthy and it's inefficient in cities. Public transport is more efficient and environmentally friendly. The parts that I disagree about is the control because it restricts personal freedom. I also disagree with international laws because of that. We've got lots of oil industries, very powerful, so little chance of this. In conclusion, in principle, I agree because alternative transport is possible, but the control and laws will be difficult. Mhm. Right. One last sample question on this. Yeah, this is studying at home versus going to school, basically. Yeah. So what you need to do is to discuss the advantages of both methods and give your own opinion. Which one do you support? A sample plan for this will be: think about the advantages of learning at home and think about the advantages of learning at school. The last tip for this part is for you to write what is easy to discuss, not necessarily what you believe. Make sure we know where you stand. Yeah. Give your clear opinion on the topic. If you really have to be neutral, make sure you make it clear which side you lean towards. Okay. Right. Let's move on to coherence and cohesion. So coherence means the flow of your writing. Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, it's how easy it is to follow your ideas. It should be logically sequenced. Cohesion is, remember cohesive devices, signpost words. Remember also to substitute and reference where possible. In writing task 1, your referencing and substitution would be maybe using pronouns. Yeah, instead of repeating mobile phones, you can use one or this or that. And here's another example. You can use these to refer to carbon dioxide and other toxic substances. So how to structure a paragraph? For writing task 2, make sure that you have a TS or a topic sentence. That is your main idea. Support this with an SS or supporting sentence. Usually this is the reasons. Yeah, it's a good idea. This is usually the why or the how of the TS. And make sure you support this to give further evidence or example of a developing sentence. So you must have these 3 in one paragraph, especially in your body paragraphs. Now let's have a look at the sample paragraph to get a better idea of this. Now this one seems long. Yes, I know it's a very long one, but this is a good paragraph. The first sentence is the topic sentence. There are several reasons why overseas students come to Australia to do further study. And then several reasons, yeah? The first reason, this is the first supporting sentence. Firstly, secondly, and a third. So you have 3 supporting sentences. Each one, the ones in purple, is supported by a developing sentence, the DS, which is in green. Uh, You can take a screenshot of this so you can have a look at that later on. Right. So here's a sample structure of coherence and cohesion. Yeah, basically you can use this in any of your writing task to response or essay. Basically, you need to have an introduction, body paragraphs, and conclusion. You might want to discuss disadvantages first if your position is on benefits. Like if you think there are more advantages to it, you would present the opposite position first and then the ones that support your opinion. So basically, you need to have at least 4 paragraphs for writing task 2. Right? Okay. Now, quick look on lexical resource before we move on to speaking part. Lexical resource involves the range of words used, the flexibility and the accuracy, your ability to use less common vocabulary. Is it appropriate? And what's the impact of errors? Leave that slangs or colloquial expressions at home. Don't use mom, dad, kids, stuff, mother, father, children, young learners, items. Okay. IELTS is an academic setting, so make sure you use formal words in both writing and speaking. Right? Okay. Less common vocabulary is not always big words. Okay. It's not necessarily single words. So it sounds odd, like if you have this suddenly sophisticated word. Yeah. I'm trying to think of a sample, but like there's the one word that stands out in your sentence, which is a bit off. So it's not about single words. It's not about cliches and metaphors. It's all about being precise. It doesn't mean you have to use only simple words, simple sentences, but there are times when people are a bit too ambitious that they use different words, but inaccurately or inappropriately. A sample of how to deal with numbers in task 1. You can say 1 in 5 or 20% or a fifth. That's for a quarter. A third, 50%, and 3 and 4. Here's a sample of a word brainstorm. It's a mind map, yeah, I would say. So you can replace car with a vehicle, or that, or that. For alternative, you can say other, or substitute, or optional. Transport. There's not much you can do in this case, but at least you have a different form. Synonyms to encouraged will be promoted, advocated, pushed, or supported. For international laws, there you have legislation, rules or regulations, or even conventions. And lastly, to control, you can say to regulate, to manage, or to restrict and limit. Yeah. So try to make a mind map and then brainstorm to widen your range of vocabulary. Okay. With practice, I'm sure you will do fine. Yeah. Here's a sample, another sample of activity. Like you can make tables like this, all words related to certain topic that you want to practice on. For example, movies, think about words related to people, meaning people in movies. So topics, places or objects, and some terminologies. Another way will be making lists, labeling. I actually had a student who put post-it notes around his bedroom, like labeling his items in his bedroom. That could work around your house. Collocations and chunks. Yes. Right. Now I'm going to share with you some sample answers of writing task 1. Okay. If you'd like, you can take a screenshot of this. This is the first one of pie charts. Oh, sorry, too fast. Yeah. So pie charts on sodium, saturated fat, and added sugar. Here's a sample of a band 6.5. Next one up is diagram or process, this one. I don't know anything about hydroelectric power station. Don't worry, it's all there. You just need to understand it first. Here's a sample of a band 6.0. And lastly, I think this one's a map. And this is a sample of a very good answer. This is at least band 7.5. You would notice how the writer presents the overview in the last paragraph. Despite the apparently significant changes, the park retains the basic elements of flowers, water, seating, and music, with the addition of a cafe and a children's play area. So that's an overview. Okay, now sample of writing task 2. Right. Okay. Remember this one? And here's a sample. A very good sample. You would see that there's some good samples of vocabulary, the ones in red boxes. This is a band 7.0.
Hi, Grace. I'm sorry to bother you. Your time is
minutes.
left 5 minutes. Yes, 4 minutes. Good.
Got
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Right. So now band 7.5 for this one. Okay. Task 1 tips. Right. Always read the question carefully, analyze the task, spend time understanding the information on the graphic. Take time to plan rather than write it twice. Make sure you have an overview and then describe them. For task 2, quite similar, think and plan. Read the question carefully. Do you need to write a comparative or descriptive essay? Make sure you plan and organize your ideas before you start writing and use paragraphs clearly. Don't copy the whole sections of the questions because these words won't be counted, right? Now, lastly, task 2 tips. Make sure you write in complete sentences, not just short ones. Don't use contractions. You would write cannot instead of can't with apostrophe T. Make sure you stick to the topic and register meaning formal, yeah, in this case. Develop your points, reasons, examples, and further explanation. Make sure you check your work for mistakes. Right. I think I would stop here, Padma.
Is it okay for not speaking fast?
I might need
Just 3
10
minutes,
minutes
maybe?
for speaking. Okay, right. Just
Okay,
briefly, probably, yeah?
just briefly.
Briefly.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. So speaking test overview, basically you have 3 parts. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's not supposed to be task 1, 2, and 3, but basically it's part 1, 2, and 3. Now, for each task, sorry, for part 1, it lasts for 4 to 5 minutes. It's basically introduction. There's an introductory frame. The examiner will introduce him or herself and then ask questions about yourself. And then task 2, this is a long term where you need to talk about a specific topic. You have 1 minute to make notes and 2 minutes to give your response. In this case, the examiner will not ask you anything. There will be a follow-up question at the end of your task 2 or part 2. But if you don't get any, it means that either it's been answered in your response or your response is off topic, it's irrelevant, or it would already exceed the time limit. So there's not enough time to actually ask a follow-up question before moving on to part 3. Now, in part 3, it is basically a discussion between you and the examiner on a topic related to task 2 or part 2. So, for example, in part 2, you would describe a party that you enjoyed. In part 3, you might get something like celebrations. What are the most important types of celebrations in your country? Then you should explain what kind. Right. And I guess the same approach as in the writing task, you should be familiar with the speaking assessment criteria. You can also download this on the website, ieltsasia.org, and then focus on each criterion. What do you need to do to get that band score? Right. Basically, it's similar to the writing part, yeah? So the first one will be fluency and coherence. Here, the examiner is looking at the continuity of the speech, the use of connectors and discourse markers, and your willingness to speak at length and topic development. Don't just give short answers. You're like, yes, no, I don't know. Yeah. There will be follow-up questions like why? Right. Lexical resource again related to your vocabulary, use of less common and idiomatic expressions, your choice of words, and your ability to convey precise meanings in all situations. For grammatical range and accuracy, here is again the range of your grammar throughout the speaking test. I have, for example, a very deep Java accent. Is that a problem? It's not a problem as long as you are able to use the right sentence stress, rhythm, intonation, and individual phonemes. Yeah. So intonation is not always flat. Don't sound robotic. You might hear Italian accent like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even Indian. Sometimes you can hear Indian accent, but as long as you can pronounce it, give the right stress to the sentence or the words, you should be fine, right? Okay. The final mark is the mean average of the 4 criteria. Is my time up, Fatma?
Yeah, maybe, but we can continue it in Q&A session.
Right. If you have questions, please
Yeah,
fire
drop it.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
put it on.
Right. Thank you
Okay.
for listening,
Thank-
guys. The floor is back to you, Fatma.
Thank you, Grace. It's very insightful. And thank you for your tips and tricks how to crack the IELTS code. We hope everyone can get the points and do the best for IELTS test. Now we will move and we will have a session with top scorer IELTS from Chevening alumni. They are Alvina Rucita, Teo Situmorang, Sekartiasa Kusumastuti, Akyar Dini Zakia. I will invite Alvina Ruchita, MSc in Operations, Projects, and Supply Chain Management, the University of Manchester, Chevening alumni, 2022-2023. She achieved Band 9 for reading and listening with an overall score of Band 8. And Theo Situmorang, MSc in Pharmaceutical Analysis, Technology, and Biopharmaceutical, King's College London, Chevening alumni, 2022-2023. He achieved Band 8.5 for listening with an overall score of Band 7.5. And Sekartiasa Kusumastuti or Sky, MA in Applied Linguistics and TESOL, Lancaster University, Chevening alumni 2021-2022. She achieved Band 7.5. She also holds a TESOL degree with 5 years of IELTS teaching experience. And last but not least, Akyar Dini Zakia, Med Science in Medical Education, University of Nottingham, Chevening alumni 2021-2022. She achieved Band 8 for speaking with an overall score of Band 8. She also 2 years of IELTS teaching experience. Please welcome. Ada Kak Alvina, Kak Theo, Kak Sky, dan juga Kak Dini. Halo guys.
Halo,
Halo, halo Fatma.
Halo teman-teman, terima kasih sudah bergabung. Saya langsung saja ya ke Kak Alvina yang mendapatkan Band 9. Wah, ini sudah sempurna ini sepertinya. Reading dan juga listening. Tapi saya ingin fokus ke reading dahulu nih. Apa nih strateginya Kak Alvina untuk mendapatkan Band 9 di reading session?
Thank you, Fatma, for the chance to share. Halo teman-teman, jadi dikit tips aja ya, bukan tips yang instan terus tiba-tiba langsung dapat 9, because I actually really love reading. Jadi it's not something that built in an instant. Jadi memang waktu IELTS test is not something that it's really hard for me karena udah terbiasa baca, dan mungkin kayak sehari-hari kita bisa coba dari baca dari yang gampang dulu sih. Misalnya if you love an article, biasanya artikel newspaper kayak Guardian kayak gitu. Karena kan kita tahu kalau IELTS akademik kan topiknya kadang kita nggak familiar juga ya. And also kalau di tips biasanya kan kayak keywords. Biasanya kalau teman-teman yang lain sih mungkin mereka akan lihat pertanyaannya dulu. Kalau saya sih baca dulu. Yang biasanya teman-teman yang lain bakal nggak sempet nih kalau misalnya baca dulu. Nah, if you feel like kayak nggak sempet baca dulu, means that you need to increase your reading skills. Jadi kalau misalnya baca dulu dan kita lihat questionnya, itu akan lebih cepat waktu, oh ini tempatnya di sini, instead of lihat keywordsnya aja. Kalau lihat kata-katanya aja kan kayak di paragrafnya kadang sama gitu, tapi kita kan harus tahu kayak meaningnya sebenarnya apa, karena kan mirip-mirip. Itu kan bantu. Jadi waktu cari jawabannya lebih cepat. Itu sih sebenarnya.
Jadi lebih ke baca soal dulu, baca
Baca
readingnya dulu, baru
bacaannya
baca
dulu
soal.
daripada baca
Karena
soal
sudah
dulu.
terbiasa membaca ya. Nah, jarak waktu sebelum tes nih, misalnya kita harus memperbanyak literasi juga. Ini jarak waktunya berapa untuk membiasakan kita membaca dengan bahasa Inggris?
I think you can start with one article a day, satu yang pendek dulu gitu. Jaraknya mungkin depends on people ya, mungkin lebih dari, karena saya itu bukan tes pertama, ini udah tes keempat kalinya sebenarnya, 4 kali. Jadi apply beasiswa itu beberapa kali, dan yang terakhir tuh memang supaya dapat LoA karena dapat Chevening gitu. Nah, mungkin bisa I think more than a month or more than 2-3 months. Jadi ya memang persiapannya lama. Nggak langsung tiba-tiba dapat 9 juga sih.
Nggak ujuk-ujuk gitu ya Kak, dapat 9, tapi ada proses panjang, ada 4
Ya ada
kali
proses
tes.
juga.
Dan
Beberapa
sudah
kali
familiar
tes.
dengan bentuk tesnya seperti apa, jadi tahu, dan juga penting untuk membuat time management yang baik begitu ya Kak, untuk mengerjakan tes reading dengan baik. Oke, saya pindah ke Kak Theo. Kak Theo ini mendapatkan 8.5 for listening. Ini suka denger lagu, suka denger podcast, atau seperti apa ini Kak Theo?
Iya, halo Fatma. Salam kenal ya teman-teman. Saya Theo, satu angkatan sama Kak Alvina, Chevening 2223. Jadi sebenarnya untuk listening, I believe it's the section dari IELTS yang paling memungkinkan buat kita untuk dapat skor tinggi ya, karena ya sebenarnya bukan bilang gampang, tapi ya itu lebih kalau kita fokus. Kuncinya for me personally, tadi yang menambahkan tadi strategi yang sebenarnya udah di-share sama eh, Kak Grace ya. Jadi tentang predicting and also anticipating the test itu sebenarnya ya we need to be physically fit karena sebenarnya tes yang pertama adalah listening kan. Itu kan sekuensinya selalu kayak gitu. Listening dulu, baru reading, baru writing kan. Speakingnya terpisah gitu. Jadi ya that's the key actually karena kalau ngantuk misalnya ya pasti nggak bisa kan gitu. Dan maksudnya listening juga temponya speakernya juga kan ngomong nggak terlalu cepat dan nggak terlalu lambat. Jadi once we are into the uh, into the monologue or into the dialogue, I believe we can achieve 8 or 8.5 gitu. Bahkan 9 kalau bisa uh, fokus selama 30 menit itu ya gitu. So,
Berarti
ya,
fokus yang paling utama ya. Tapi apa nih
iya.
praktisnya agar kita telinga kita tuh familiar dengan bahasa Inggris dan juga tesnya agar mendapatkan nilai yang bagus.
Oke, so what I did, jadi kan sebenarnya kita udah book tes IELTS mungkin ya berapa minggu atau bahkan sebulan sebelum tes kan gitu. Jadi yang kemarin saya ambil IELTS baru sekali 2021, jadi dua tahun yang lalu untuk kebutuhan Chevening juga. Jadi katanya ya our hearing ability is best practice waktu kapan kita mau tes gitu. Jadi I know that I will be tested in the morning, so every morning I keep listening. So there are so many free listening, uh, free listening practice lah ya di YouTube gitu. So I usually I did that every morning gitu dan udah familiar. Dan on the day of the test, ya tadi fit nggak ngantuk. I believe you can ace the listening gitu. Karena beda kan sama reading gitu. Kita reading kita baca 2 kali untuk nemuin jawaban atau bahkan 3 kali karena teksnya di situ gitu. Sementara listening kan nggak ada repetition ya, nggak ada pengulangan gitu. Just in the span time of 30 minutes ya kita harus tetap on gitu. Itu aja sih my simple tips.
Ada special platform nggak yang bisa di attach oleh atau bisa di download oleh teman-teman semuanya? Di mana nih yang podcast bagus apa atau listening apa yang bisa kita dengarkan gitu agar bisa meningkatkan kemampuan kita? Kalau Kak Tio sendiri seperti apa?
Platform sebenarnya semua bentuk mau podcast mau apapun lah ya yang berbahasa Inggris itu sebenarnya menolong. Tapi simpelnya karena ya kita pengen memimik yang asli dengan listening IELTS listeningnya kan. Kalau aku sih kemarin belajarnya yang dari YouTube mungkin ya. There are so many resources, tapi saya pakai IELTS Daily itu kayak udah lebih terstruktur dan udah selalu diupdate periodically. Jadi I only use YouTube actually to be honest for listening. Jadi ya,
Oke,
it's very possible to have high score for listening.
oke. Berarti IELTS Daily ya dari YouTube
Yeah.
ya
Yes.
bisa di-download oleh atau bisa di oleh teman-teman untuk dilihat di YouTube. Oke, saya pindah ke Kak Sekartiasa atau Kak Sky. Ini mendapatkan 7,5 di writing. Halo Kak Sky,
Halo Fatma.
ini gimana nih tips dan triknya mendapatkan 7,5? Karena tiap band 0,5 untuk di writing ini agak susah nih kelihatannya ya. Termasuk
Betul.
saya nih ya yang di Fakultas Hukum mendapatkan 7 ini, wah harus berusaha ekstra. Ini gimana nih Kak caranya?
Oke, makasih Fatma. Jadi sebelumnya aku disclaimer dulu ya. Mungkin aku bukan the best alumni yang bisa dapat nilai writing bagus karena aku tahu di sini di teman-teman mentor ini ada yang juga IELTS writingnya 8 ya. Tapi mungkin aku bisa sharing perspektif juga dari segi tidak hanya sebagai test taker tetapi juga sebagai pengajar gitu ya, pengajar IELTS gitu. Aku boleh sharing screen, mungkin I would like to show some ideas ya. Jadi aku biasanya encourage murid-murid aku untuk practice IELTS writing without writing gitu. Of course, we have to practice writing, right? But we can also actually set our mind to be ready for the IELTS test dengan practicing writing without writing. Gimana tuh caranya? Jadi kalau aku lihat dari pertanyaan-pertanyaan IELTS writing, terutama yang writing task 2, ya ada dua elemen yang harus kita work on. Yang pertama adalah elemen argumen. Kita harus tahu bagaimana caranya membentuk argumen atau membangun argumen yang baik. Kalau Fatma yang anak hukum mungkin sudah jadi sarapan sehari-hari, ya kan? Tapi tidak semua teman-teman gitu kan terbiasa untuk membangun argumen yang structured dan juga developing gitu ya argumennya ya. Dan yang kedua adalah kita juga harus memperhatikan aspek language. Nah, di sini kemudian aku mencoba untuk mengencourage murid-muridku untuk bisa using daily dilemma to practice generating ideas for argument. Jadi kalau hari ini Fatma memilih untuk mengcurl rambutnya ya, rambutnya dibikin keriting sedikit di bawah, mungkin ada dilema di kepala. Aku harus mengkeriting atau meluruskan rambut ya. Nah, coba daily dilema seperti itu dibikin argumen gitu ya kayak, I think I would curl my hair today because reason 1, reason 2. Kayak gitu. For any single activity gitu ya yang sifatnya tidak harus selalu yang akademik atau bagaimana, tapi membiasakan diri untuk making argument and ideas gitu. Kenapa kita melakukan suatu hal gitu. Itu tuh mungkin di aspek argumennya. Kalau untuk di aspek language-nya, kita juga bisa menggunakan daily exposure to practice our English gitu ya. How gitu. Kalau aku ada 3 hal. Yang pertama adalah ketika kita belajar IELTS dari reading dan listening practices, biasanya aku akan mencatat new words, technical terms, atau mungkin sinonim yang kita dapetin ya. Karena kan untuk tahu reading, kita harus tahu keyword gitu. Sebenarnya kita belajar sinonim kan. Nah, ketika kita belajar semua itu, ketika ada writing yang relevan, maka kata-kata itu akan aku coba untuk keluarkan. Sehingga nantinya akan membentuk lexical range yang lebih banyak lagi. Begitu. Yang kedua, aku biasanya mencoba untuk think to link ya. Jadi kayak misalnya kalau kita berbicara gitu kan, bahkan ketika kita berbicara menggunakan bahasa Indonesia, aku mencoba untuk menggunakan linking verb agar apa yang kita sampaikan itu lebih flowing gitu ya. Kita pakai kayak linking word seperti however gitu kan, nevertheless, moreover, on the other side gitu. Bahkan ketika kita pakai bahasa Indonesia, kita juga pakai akan tetapi gitu kan, dicoba untuk di-structured idenya gitu. Jadi kalau kita membiasakan speaking dengan tata bahasa dan struktur ideas yang bagus, maka itu akan juga contribute terhadap writing kita nanti. Dan yang ketiga, convention control. Ini yang lumayan agak susah. Karena kadang-kadang kalau kita nulis malas pakai titik, ya kan? Terus kalau kita WhatsAppan ya, kebanyakan disingkat-singkat gitu kan, sehingga kita sering banget untuk typo ketika kita menulis di academic setting gitu. Jadi, I try to habituate myself untuk pay attention on the punctuation, spelling, and minimize typos. Dari dua hal ini gitu, I think I got better in my writing gitu kan. Mungkin kalau dengan persiapan seperti biasa, mungkin aku hanya akan dapat 7, tapi dengan membiasakan untuk membuat argumen ya dengan daily dilemmas dan juga belajar language dari cara tadi, itu membuat aku semakin mantap gitu ketika harus menulis secara akademik, baik untuk IELTS maupun untuk studi. Begitu Fatma.
Saya setuju sih dengan Kak Sky, karena kalau kita pikirkan terus, mau tes kita harus belajar yang berat-berat nih. Nah, itu akan membuat susah. Kalau bisa belajarnya santai-santai dulu, mungkin kita akan terbiasa dan tesnya bisa lebih lancar lagi. Oke, Kak Sky, terima kasih. Saya move ke Kak Dini. Hai, Kak Dini.
Halo Kak Fatma.
Hai, Kak. Kak Dini ini mendapatkan band 8 for speaking, band
Iya.
8 for speaking, dan juga writing juga. Tapi kalau speaking nih, Kak Dini, tips dan triknya seperti apa sih? Kok bisa mendapatkan 8, ataukah sudah berbahasa Inggris sejak lahir atau gimana?
Enggak ya, kalau dari lahir sih aku masih owe juga ya kayak bayi pada umumnya. Terus juga
Barangkali ya.
di rumah aku Kalau di rumah aku juga kita nggak pakai bahasa Inggris sih, tapi alhamdulillahnya aku punya temen yang setiap hari bisa diajak bergibah dalam bahasa Inggris. Oh sorry, kata-katanya bukan
Rompi
gibah.
dalam bahasa
Eh,
Inggris ya.
iya, jadi tapi kata-katanya bukan gibah Kak. Update informasi mengenai lingkungan sekitar dengan bahasa Inggris gitu. Jadi aku memang setiap hari praktis sama temen aku apa yang terjadi di hidup aku hari itu, apa yang mau aku kerjakan, terus temen aku juga gitu. Nah, ketika dia lagi nggak bisa, aku tuh join komunitas yang emang membantu buat belajar speaking English gitu, Kak. Aku ikut komunitas-komunitas, terus di situ kan biasanya kita akan dihadapkan sama orang-orang yang kita nggak kenal gitu kan, terus kita harus ngomong pakai bahasa Inggris. Menurut aku sih itu sangat melatih aku untuk bisa berani ngomong di depan orang dengan bahasa yang aku juga asing gitu, dan itu membuat aku jadi ketika tes ketemu sama interviewernya aku udah nggak panik lagi gitu karena ya aku udah biasa ketemu sama orang-orang asing setiap minggunya hanya untuk ngomong pakai bahasa Inggris gitu. Nah tapi kan di situ tuh biasanya kalau di komunitas kan mungkin karena orang Indonesia juga sopan-sopan ya, jadi nggak pernah dapat feedback kan kurangnya apa, terus apa yang harus diperbaiki gitu. Jadi yang aku lakukan selain itu adalah karena aku tahu dalam academic speaking grammar itu penting banget, aku setiap malam itu latihan pakai buku grammar. Dulu tuh aku pakai bukunya Betty Azar itu kayak apa ya, Holy Book of English Grammar kayaknya kalau orang-orang di Indonesia banyak banget yang pakai buku itu. Aku latihan grammarnya di situ, kebetulan bukunya juga ada jawabannya, terus ya aku praktis di kemampuan aku speaking sehari-hari gitu Kak. Jadi karena memang writing dan speaking ini adalah productive skills yang hanya bisa semakin bagus nilainya kalau kita banyak berlatih. Menurut aku sih kita memang harus menceburkan diri ke tempat-tempat di mana kita harus ngomong pakai bahasa Inggris gitu. Kita mau nggak mau, suka nggak suka gitu kan. Harus ngomong aja, latihan. Karena kalau nggak latihan ya pada akhirnya kita nggak akan improve kemampuannya gitu. Itu cuma akan jadi wishful thinking buat kita gitu. Itu sih.
Kak Dini ini ada yang tanya nih, tadi bukunya judulnya apa ya Kak? Bisa diulangi
Oh,
lagi Kak?
apa ya nama pokoknya grammar gitu yang sekarang Betty Azar. Seingatku beliau.
Oke,
Lupa
bisa
namanya.
dicatat ya
Understanding
teman-teman.
grammar, teman-teman.
Apa Kak?
Understanding
Sorry.
grammar.
Understanding grammar. Ya,
Oke.
Betty
Judulnya
Azar.
Understanding Grammar.
Ya.
Oke.
Bukunya Bu Betty.
Oke, dan durasinya berapa lama nih Kak dari terjun ke komunitas atau mungkin ada online-online juga kan ya biasanya kalau komunitas dengan luar negeri
Iya,
gitu? Eh,
iya.
Durasinya berapa
Kebetulan
lama?
Kak, aku waktu itu tes IELTS-nya waktu pandemi Kak. Jadi emang nggak ada yang komunitas yang ketemu langsung gitu tuh nggak. Jadi aku online sama teman aku juga by phone. Nah, tapi ini aku lama banget latihannya. Jadi aku udah temenan sama temanku ini dari 2010. Dan kita emang
Oke.
kayak tiap malam tuh ngomong gitu. Tapi kalau komunitasnya, aku join sekitar 3 sampai 4 bulan sebelum aku tes, Kak.
Itu komunitas
Sebelum
internal ya
aku tes
berarti ya?
IELTS. Iya, komunitas orang-orang Indonesia juga, ngobrol-ngobrol sama orang Indonesia. Temanku ada yang pakai website yang mencari orang asing, terus kayak dia ngobrol-ngobrol gitu juga kalau kalau mau pakai cara itu juga kayaknya bisa sih. Karena emang emang apa ya? Emang harus apa? Harus mau mencari orang-orang yang bersedia ngomong pakai bahasa Inggris dan harus siap diceng-cengin orang sih karena aku juga pernah ngobrol sama teman aku kayak gitu. Kita lagi belanja ke warung
Oke.
terus kan ngobrol kan terus habis itu kata yang warungnya nggak boleh beli ya kalau nggak belinya pakai bahasa Inggris katanya gitu. Tapi nggak apa-apa.
Oke, luar
Demi nilai
biasa.
IELTS.
Ini ada pertanyaan lanjutan untuk Kak Dini dan juga Kak Theo. Mungkin nanti akan disambung di via chat ya apa bukunya dan juga apa boleh di-share bahan listening every morning-nya bisa di chat Kak Theo atau di Kak Dini untuk di komen di meeting chat di Zoom meeting. Dan terakhir nih buat kakak-kakak semuanya Kak Alvina, Kak Theo, Kak Sky dan juga Kak Dini, apakah ada pesan-pesan buat teman-teman untuk tetap teguh pada pendirian untuk terus berusaha karena teman-teman di sini tidak hanya satu kali mungkin untuk ambil tes IELTS ada yang sudah yang berkali-kali agar mereka tetap berjuang dan juga tetap semangat. Ini apa nih yang ingin disampaikan oleh untuk teman-teman yang ada di sini? Mungkin Kak Alvina terlebih dahulu.
Mungkin buat teman-teman yang harus tes IELTS berkali-kali, I think you should not give up and try. Mungkin belajar dari kesalahannya juga dan have a constant exposure ke English. I don't think it's not possible for you. It's still possible for you to get the score that you want. Good luck.
Oke. Kak Theo?
Mungkin practical tips ya, kemarin itu waktu sebelum mau daftar S2, mau daftar IELTS, aku sama teman-teman ada grup berempat berlima gitu. Jadi kan kita bisa latihan bareng-bareng gitu. Itu juga sangat menolong sih. Jadi kita bisa saling exchange writing, khususnya buat writing sama speaking ya, yang lebih baik kalau bisa belajar bareng gitu. Kalau reading sama listening kan bisa mandiri ya gitu. Jadi form your study group itu akan menolong sih.
Oke. Kak Sky,
Aku mungkin
ada
akan
tips? Ada
menekankan,
pesan?
ya, aku mungkin akan menekankan the importance of feedback ya. Jadi sebisa mungkin teman-teman bisa mendapatkan feedback, entah itu dari study group atau mungkin dari mentor gitu. Karena terutama untuk dua skill produktif yaitu writing dan speaking, tanpa feedback kayaknya kita nggak akan bisa punya objective assessment untuk diri kita sendiri gitu. Jadi please ask for feedback. You can find one or another ways untuk bisa dapat supporting system gitu dan bisa dapat feedback dari teman-teman sekitar. Begitu sih. Thank you.
Oke, thank you. Kak Dini, ada pesan terakhir untuk teman-teman?
Semangat dan sabar sama kemampuan diri. Kalau misalnya udah mencoba sekali terus belum berhasil, jangan langsung merasa dunia berakhir besok gitu. Nggak apa-apa. Emang orang-orang hebat itu perlu banyak halangannya biar nantinya mereka bisa jadi keren banget. Jadi tetap berjuang, sabar. Semoga nanti akhirnya akan bisa dapat hasil yang terbaik. Amin.
Amin. Terima kasih kakak-kakak dan jangan gundah gulana teman-teman karena setelah ini bagi yang sudah mendaftar atau terregister di Zoom meeting nantinya akan kita pindah atau move to breakout rooms for participants who joining via Zoom dan kita juga akan ada 25 mentor yang siap untuk mementori para menti-mentinya langsung 101, bukan 101 ya, maksudnya dalam satu grup begitu ya, di breakout rooms. Dan kami mohon untuk teman-teman panitia untuk memindahkan para participants ini untuk ke breakout rooms selama 30 menit ke depan. Dan sebelum itu, kami juga mengingatkan untuk teman-teman melengkapi form evaluasi di akhir sesi acara nanti, karena nantinya akan ada hadiah menarik berupa vouchers GoPay yang beruntung ada 3 orang nantinya akan dipilih oleh pihak panitia. Dan bagi teman-teman yang masih ada pertanyaan, bisa tulis di kolom komentar dengan format nama, mentor atau menti, lalu dilanjutkan dengan pertanyaan. Jangan sedih, selain ada breakout rooms, tapi kita juga masih ada sesi di main room dengan Grace. Nanti kita akan ada tanya jawab. Dan kami juga mengimbau bagi teman-teman yang membutuhkan sign language interpreter untuk tetap berada di main room, karena kakak-kakak sign language interpreternya ini masih ada di main room untuk hingga akhir acara nanti. Okay, I will invite again Grace to join the discussion or Q&A session. Grace, everything is good?
All good. I'm here.
Okay, now we have to work again.
Yes, obviously.
Q&A session and discussion session. Please, guys, if you have any questions, please put it on comment in the YouTube or Zoom session in here. Maybe you want to ask about how to get a good score for speaking tests or how to get a good score for writing. I don't know. You can just put your question in a meeting chat now. Okay, Grace, I want to ask you question. What is the possibility of test taker to get a high score if they learn IELTS just less than 3 months?
It actually, I can't say much. It depends on their starting score and how much exposure they've got at the beginning. Like, for example, let's say band 5. Sorry, how long was it?
Mhm. Like 3 months.
3 months, yeah. 3 months
Mhm.
intensive every single day. 5, if you start with a band score of 5, then 3 months you can get a 6.5. It's possible if you do intensive practice, yeah, like every day.
Mm.
Every day.
Okay. So every 3 months we might be get 1.5.
Yes. So there's a
Yes.
research from Cambridge Assessment English. Like
Mhm.
in 120 hours, candidates can increase at least one band.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Right. Okay. This is
120. If you do more work, you can get more, I guess. Yeah. More exposure, of course, a higher band.
So if you want to get a higher band, maybe you can study around like 6 or 1 year to get the best score, especially
It's possible.
university in UK, because
Yes.
mostly in university in the UK, the English requirements need 7,
At least 7.
7.5.
Yes.
Yeah, at least 7.
Yeah. Depends on the
Yeah.
major, yeah. Like if it's science or medical, yeah, I guess
Mhm.
medicine, yeah, they ask for 7 to 7.5. And for the
Mhm.
writing and speaking, shouldn't be below 7, I think. So
Okay,
usually there's a additional requirements, yeah. Like
Mhm.
overall 7, but the writing and or speaking shouldn't be lower than 7. Sometimes they have special requests, if you can say that.
Yeah, it's happened to me as well.
Mhm.
In law faculty, I have to um have a 7 band 7 in writing.
Mhm.
It's like law. So yeah, I work really hard to get 7 in writing, because
How
for me
many
writing is
how many times did you
Mhm.
have to do test?
like 3 times.
3 times. My
3
goodness
times,
me.
because in writing, I got like 6 band 6
6.0. Mhm.
and 6.5, and
Right.
finally 7. Oh my God, it's really exciting
I know how
moment.
you yes. So
Yeah, that's
in
hard.
how long was that? How long did it take you?
Um,
The
like
first
6 months.
6 months.
6 months
Right.
while I'm working as a journalist.
Right. So it's a part-time, right?
Yeah,
Part-time learning, yeah. That's why it took a
part-time
long.
learning.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah,
Like
part-time
if
learning.
it was intensive, you could get it within like 2 months, probably.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe. But
Maybe.
yeah, it's like part of my job. Main job is as a journalist. So
Right.
at night, I have to work as a candidate.
Study IELTS.
Study
Study IELTS.
IELTS.
Study IELTS.
Right, right. Okay, everyone, if you have a question, please drop it via meeting chat in Zoom or YouTube channel. Apabila teman-teman ada pertanyaan langsung
Kenapa?
yang bisa ditanyakan untuk Kak Grace, bisa ditulis kolom komentar di meeting chat Zoom atau di YouTube channel. Karena sesi ini membutuhkan waktu sekitar 30 menit. Jadi kalau ada yang pengen curhat-curhat begitu ya, if you have your issue, if you want to tell your stories or express your experience, you can share with us. Okay, Grace, I have question as well.
Okay.
Sometimes as a test taker, feel under pressure and also got stressed before the test, is it
Mhm.
affect the result of the test?
No.
It,
Surely.
to a certain extent, it does.
Mhm.
Like, for example, I had a student who
Mhm.
took an intensive class gradually from band 4. Within 2 months, she could get a band 7 overall.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, 3 days before her test day, she was diagnosed with a typhoid.
Mhm.
So she couldn't do her best on the test day. She ended up with a band 5. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not actually about because of nerve, but because he wasn't fit enough to do the test. Yeah. No matter how ready you are for the test, it all comes down to how fit you are on the test day. Like nerves,
Mhm.
yes. But I guess if you feel confident, if you're ready, make sure you are healthy, get enough sleep. So on the test day, I think you should be fine. Yeah, because
Okay.
the peace of mind affects everything, right?
Physically and mentally
Physically
healthy.
and mentally, yeah. I had a tip actually from my colleague. Yeah,
Mhm.
he's British. He's from the UK. He said he had to take a Spanish test. So it's an example of another language, right? Obviously, English
Mhm.
is his mother tongue. Um,
Yeah.
so the night before his Spanish test, speaking test, he went to I'm not sure this is a good idea, but he went to a bar, a Spanish bar,
Oh.
and he just talked to everyone there in Spanish. Like yeah,
Hmm.
whatever, whatnot, you know. And he did
Oh, shit.
well in his test. Like
Wow.
if it was an IELTS score, it would be like a band 8 or something. Like I'm not sure it's a good idea, but just
Like you meet the strangers, right?
yeah, just talk, just freely,
Mhm.
just out, and then you get this exposure of people talking within in that language, like I don't know, it
Mhm.
might be difficult to find a community like that here.
Mhm.
Like you can't just randomly go to, somewhere and then talk to people in English like that. But yeah, I mean, less pressure actually gives the best result, brings
Okay,
the
less
best result.
pressure. And
Yeah,
of course, we have to be health mentally and also physically
physically
because
healthy.
it is affect our concentration to
Yes.
to take the test.
I
Okay.
think
Well.
if I may give
Mm.
one tip on the speaking part, especially, because quite
Yeah.
a lot of candidates feel nervous when they do the
Mhm.
speaking test. Uh, don't worry too much. The examiner will almost always try to support you, not in terms of the response, but try to make you feel relaxed. Like, yeah,
Ini
like
mau
they
pergi?
will wait and then like give
Tadi pilihannya.
encouragement, right? And like, body gesture, because the speaking test is recorded, right? So examiners
Mhm.
cannot actually say anything other than what they can read in the script. So
Mhm.
they all will always try to give encouragement to you. I mean,
Nanti
like
nanti.
that. Yeah. So they're nice. They're not
Tinggalin
evil.
nasi goreng. Karena aku suka banget nasi
Mhm.
goreng. Please.
Oke. Oke. Eh, untuk kakak-kakak panitia, apakah sudah pindah semua di breakout room?
Can someone invite me to breakout room? Somebody is lost in the chat.
Oke.
You can just ignore it, Grace.
No. I mean, in the chat, there's
Anyone?
someone
In the chat, there's
asking
someone who lost.
Okay, I will help. Oh, who is that? Who's that?
Lalu Rivalikal.
Lalu Rivalika.
All right. All right. Wait a minute. I will assign you. Oh, actually, she's
Oke.
okay. You can continue.
Ya.
Okay.
Oke.
Can I
Okay,
ask
guys,
you
you have
something, Fatma?
yeah, please.
But your experience in taking the test. So
Mhm.
from the 4 skills, which one you find the most challenging?
Writing, of course.
Okay. Do you
Because
remember what was it about? Task 2, maybe?
I don't remember. I just forget
Okay.
it.
That was last
I
year,
I
no?
just yeah, it's last year. But
Mm.
when I go home, I just forget it all, and
Bye bye. Been there, done that.
bye bye. And I just pray to God that, please God, give me a band 7 in minimum. So I have to go to, I want to go to UK Queen Mary. So yeah, I have to achieve band 7.
Mm.
But sometimes I think that I remembered that in the second test, I faced a difficult question. It's not it's not that difficult,
Mhm.
but I think I'm not familiar about the issue. So
Mm.
if I'm not familiar about the issue, I cannot write it down well.
Of
So
course.
can you give advice if anybody not familiar with the issues or with the question,
Mhm.
then she or he can write it well?
I think based on like from the slides I showed earlier, so there are common topics, yeah, in IELTS. Basically, I'm gonna give an example. I think
Yeah.
it's better, yeah. So there was one real test question about vaccine for children. So the question was about it should be made compulsory for parents to immunize their children. For
Mhm.
example, you're single and you have no idea about what vaccines or immunization children need, but deep inside, you know that they need these vaccines or immunization. I mean, the basic ones, yeah, for children. They do need it, but
Mhm.
I have no idea what they need. It's easier to go to the other side. So, like, do you agree or disagree? You can say, I completely disagree because don't say I don't know anything about it, but more about like, I know it's difficult to admit, but for people in general, it's easier to find negative sides of everything, like almost everything. It's easier to find the minus points. Like if you think of a vaccine or immunization, do we have vaccine manufacturer? I know we have Bio Farma in Bandung, but let's
Yeah.
say you don't know if Indonesia actually produces or manufactures vaccine. You can say, oh, it must be imported. So what happened if it's imported? It must be expensive. It's all about money, right? So I disagree because it must be expensive. Secondly, if it's imported, maybe they only have it in big cities, so access. That's the second thing. Thirdly, maybe I think this was booming a couple of years ago that some of the vaccines are actually haram. It contains non-halal ingredients. Yeah,
Materials. Yeah.
yeah,
Ingredients.
materials. So that's the third one. It's against religious beliefs. So it's always easier to talk about the minus points. Not
Yeah.
saying that for you to actually believe that it's not a good idea to give vaccinations to children, but it's again, write what is easy to say. If you're not
Mhm.
familiar with it, just go to the other side. Although personally, you think, I think it should be, I should agree with this, but I don't know anything about it. I'm not familiar with it. Just go to
Mhm.
the other side. It's a
Okay.
language test, not a personality test.
Yeah. Just make up the
Make up something.
story.
Yeah. Make up something. Make it
Yeah. Make up
logical.
something.
Yeah. Make up something. Make it logical.
Yeah.
And try to convince whoever is reading your essay, I guess.
Yeah. So it happened to me as well. I think that I remember I got the bad score in the second test because the question is about um the painting, something like that. I don't remember, but I don't remember it well. But I think that the question is not, I'm not familiar yet, but I have to make it well, make up the question,
Mm.
make up the answer. And I really bad at make up something, the question. So
Because of your
the
background.
answer. Yeah, because I have a low background. If I got
Okay,
the
yeah.
vaccine issues, if I got the vaccine issues or um yeah, social issues or education issues, yeah, I can write it down it well. And
Mm.
for the painting or something like I'm not sure about it,
Arts.
I just like hesitate to to write. But yeah, finally in the third in the third
You
what
managed.
test, I can do it well,
Yay.
fortunately. Yay. Okay.
So, yeah.
I have question related to speaking test.
Mm.
Some people said that Indonesian examiner for speaking test is harder than non-Indonesia examiner. What do you think about it? Is it like quite challenging to
What
to
do you mean?
face? I don't know. Some people said like that. It's
Uh-huh.
not about you. That's not about you, of
Oops.
course. But but some people some people said that Indonesian examiner is like harder than non-Indonesian examiner. Is it true?
As in more
No.
strict, you mean?
Yeah, maybe in
Mm.
some way.
Right. So there are, hang on, 6 in examiners based in
In
Indonesia.
Indonesia.
Yes.
Mhm.
Luckily, I no longer do one here because now I'm with the UK. Um, I don't think so. Yeah. To answer your
Mhm.
question, because examiners, we have to take the test every 2 years.
Mhm.
And oops, wrong pronoun. So examiners have to take the test every 2 years. They
Mhm.
need to maintain an overall band 9, and we are recertified. They are recertified every 2 years and monitored every year. So the standard is maintained. Yeah.
Mhm.
And there the monitoring states there will be like random samples taken
Mhm.
to check if the examiner is up to standard. I don't think it actually we can validate that uh, Indonesian examiners, because Indonesian examiners, there are only a few, very few, who are not native speakers. And I think most of our examiners here in Indonesia, they're from England, for the UK, and from hang
Mhm.
on,
It's not been like
Australia.
we
So it's not
validate
like
of
that. No,
the
cannot
validation of
validate.
Indonesian the Indonesian
More
examiner. I
strict
mean like
than native? No.
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 Okay. So
Maybe it's
so you
like
guys
more tense, maybe like maybe they're more nervous when they see Indonesian examiner. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I
Some
think the examiners we
some
have
people said
here are nice.
nice. Yeah.
They're nice. Yes.
I never met them before. I
Oh.
always meet the Germany or no, not Germany, like British,
Mhm,
Australian
mhm.
examiner. Yeah, like
Did
that.
you
But
take your
some
test
people
at
said
Did you take your test in British Council?
no.
Okay.
I took my test in IDP.
Right.
Yeah,
There's also some
but
comparisons about the easier test in British Council or IDP, but they're actually the same.
yeah,
We
like
all
we
come from Cambridge. Yeah.
some
The
people
same test.
always have the comparison.
Yeah. Trying to justify their results, right? It must
Right,
be because of the
right.
examiner. Yeah. Just blame anyone, like anyone but
It's
me.
because of your ability, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I think there's
Okay.
a question from YouTube.
Oh, from YouTube. Okay,
Mm.
I check the YouTube channel. Wait. Um, Okay, the question is from Wuri Kananda. She or he? She have question. If I want to take a test in January and I have to get pen score 6.5, how many times in a week I should learn?
What is your starting score, Wuri Kananda? Yeah, it's all depends on your starting score.
Yeah.
I would recommend you to try that Cambridge IELTS practice test book. Yeah, try one practice and then check your answers, see how many correct answers you've got, and then find the conversion table. It's everywhere online on the internet. See what's your starting score. If your starting score is a 6, it's very possible. It's very highly likely you will get a 6.5. But if your starting score is a 5, how many times a week in January depends. Beginning January or end of January? You have to be specific in there. Right? Like I would
Right.
recommend like 1.5 hours a day. Yeah, 2 hours max. More than 2 hours is not effective. You get bored, you get fed up. 2 hours a day max every day. But for the practice test, yeah, answering the questions. But reading, yeah, like what Dini and Alfina mentioned earlier, do that every single day. Like Theo also recommend a good one IELTS daily. Listen to podcasts, do that every day. But for the question types, yeah, you might try the listening today, reading test tomorrow, writing the next day. So do that on a regular basis, I guess.
Mhm. How we can divide the task? I mean, like the session.
Mhm.
Like one day we have to concentrate about the speaking test, or just 3 days later we have to move to listening test. What is the best to fight?
The best practice would be first you need to recognize which skill you are weakest at and do more practice in that area. Doesn't mean that you don't have to improve on the other areas, but once in a while you can go back and review. But if students or candidates think that, oh, I need to improve my reading skills, so do that more often. Yeah. Listening and reading are the skills that you can do self-practice, like Theo mentioned earlier. But for writing, I guess, yeah, it is highly recommended that you find a, let's say, sparring partner, someone you can practice with and get feedback from.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
feedback
don't
is helpful.
forget to always practice the other skills,
Yes.
because you may forget about the other skills
Exactly.
if you want to.
Or let's say if you have a 3 week,
Mhm.
you have 3 weeks before the D-Day. So improve on your weakest skills every day, and then do the whole test, listening, reading, writing, once a week, like just to recap, like that. So you don't have to read every single day. It's tiring and stressful.
Yeah,
I
stressful.
wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
You have to take a
Me.
break if you
Yeah.
need to.
Even if somebody paid me to do that, I wouldn't do it. No.
Right,
Um,
right. What do you think it's the most difficult skill that many Indonesian candidates face?
Mostly writing. Yeah, mostly writing. I admire Indonesian candidates' confidence in their speaking, which is fine, which is okay. Don't worry too much about grammar. That's why it's important to listen to or to expose yourself to a lot of, let's take Theo's example or tips, podcasts, as long as the speakers use the correct grammar. Like I know learning grammar or studying grammar is boring. Like you spend how long? 13 years to study grammar at school, right? Junior high school 3 years, senior high school 3 years, and then college 1 year at
College.
least. So that's 7 years studying grammar. Ugh. And then IELTS, you have to study grammar again. Ugh. Right. So if you expose yourself to a lot of materials using the correct grammar and good vocabulary, I think you will remember them unconsciously. I think, yeah. So writing is the most challenging part for all Indonesian candidates. Very few get good score. If you remember the table I showed earlier, the overall is Indonesia 2018 was 5.78.
Okay. Okay. So writing.
5.7.
So I'm the one who get the struggle score for writing test.
You're the lucky one to get a 7.
The lucky one. Yeah.
Yay! That's an achievement. That's an achievement. One thing I would maybe to highlight, sometimes candidates write excellent sentences, very good choice of words, very good grammar and accurate, but it is off topic. That brings it down to a 5. Yeah. So there is a sample question. There was a sample question about, hang on, what was it? It should be made illegal for hang on. There should be strict punishment, no matter what motives. I think this is related to your field. There should be one strict punishment for every crime or breach of law. Yeah. Do you agree or disagree? So there's this one candidate who started nicely, very good introduction. And then I know that this candidate wanted to provide an example. I don't mean to promote this singer, but there was a singer who has 3 sons, and one of the sons actually underage, a minor who hasn't got a driver's license. So this son was arrested because he was involved in an accident in Jakarta. You might know the singer, but I wouldn't mention the name. So anyway, this candidate started talking about the son and then the father, who is a famous singer. And then that's from paragraph 2 until the end conclusion. So basically talking about the celebrity, which is really, what a pity. The sentences are good, grammar's good, but it's off topic. It's off topic. Doesn't talk about strict punishment or whatnot. So that's the main problem with Indonesian candidates, off topic.
Okay. So it's like challenging thing or challenging for writing tasks. If you want to get a high score, you have to know how to write it well, such as overview.
Task 1, yes.
Yeah.
And
also task 1.
And then
And also the
expand.
task 2. Task 2, you have a general and a more specific, and give an examples or examples for your
Yes.
argumentation. It's
Yeah.
very helpful for your to increase your score. It happens to my in my writing, essay writing in a law faculty in Queen Mary, because I have to write like 30,000 words now in this semester. Mostly of the writing essays is about how to make your argument really make sense.
Yeah.
So
Logical.
yeah, it's logical. So it is like the same with the IELTS test, with my essay test in a university. So yeah, IELTS test makes sense to increase your ability, how to write, how to speak, how to listen, how to read the articles or something like that. So yeah, we have to work hard.
Yeah, of course. Because like we have a very different education system, right? Indonesian, and if we want to compare it head to head with the UK, very different. And the way we write is very different. It's like forming your mindset. Like this is how
Yeah.
you write an academic essay. Very different. Like in Indonesia, I understand you have to write as many words as possible or as many pages as possible, right? But in the in academic English way, it's you have to be straight to the point.
Yeah.
And then how to develop your ideas well. Yeah. So that's why I guess for me, IELTS is like your basically is your very first step to
Ability.
study abroad, right? Like it's the
Yeah. Right.
we're the guardian of this your opportunity to study abroad, like IELTS test itself. Yeah. Are you worthy or not? Something like that.
Yeah, and
It's like
coherent and
core.
cohesion is very important because my lecturer in the university said that your coherent and cohesion it's very important and logical and for your argumentation is it's very important to
Yeah.
make your essays
Mhm.
good
Yeah. Because most
and
of the times
representable.
we use baso all the time. Are you familiar with baso?
What is baso?
BASO, not the
Oh,
meatball.
oh,
Baso.
yeah.
And so or.
Oh,
Using
okay.
that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cohesive devices. But the
Mhm.
connectors are not
The
only those. Yeah. Furthermore,
Yeah.
moreover. Yeah.
Furthermore, moreover,
Mm.
uh, yeah.
And so on.
Although not so
And
much.
so on. Ah,
Yeah,
right.
something like that. Um, is it important to take IELTS course for the candidates if you want to get a higher score, or just learn the IELTS by yourself via YouTube or via like books or something?
Mhm. You can do either one. You don't always have to take a class to take
Mm-hmm.
courses. But if you find sources online, make sure they are reliable. We have quite a lot of free practice tests. I think if you go to I think Narita knows this more than me. We have quite a lot of free resources. And then the books that I mentioned, Cambridge IELTS practice test books. A good book if you want to get is New Insight into IELTS, Vanessa
Mm-hmm.
Jakeman. Yeah, CUP 2014. There's also the Cambridge official guide to the IELTS test 2014, also by Vanessa Jakeman 2019. I think that one was. I've been using
Mm-hmm.
this book too many times. There's also Grammar for IELTS, Vocabulary for IELTS by the same publisher, CUP, Cambridge University Press. I think most Indonesian have access to free downloads, so try to get a hold on those resources, guys.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because nowadays we have free sources via everything, via YouTube, via Google. Just Google it and
Yeah.
you can find many sources to
Just make
boost
sure they
your.
are reliable. Yeah. Just make sure they are reliable.
Yeah, of course. Okay. In here, Zoom or YouTube channel from the CAI have question about how to handle your nervous if you face the examiner for speaking test
For
to
the
handle the nervous.
examiners don't bite. Yeah.
Just easy. Take
Just
it easy.
relax. Take it easy. I know
Mhm.
it's easier said than done, but then like I think now they will do it online. Yeah, we call it VCS, video call speaking. If you take the tests, basically the same like this. You'll be wearing headphones, and then just wait for the cue from the examiner. They will lead the discussion. They will lead what to do. Imagine if you are in a coffee shop. I don't know if it helps, but like you just meet someone new and you want to share a part of your academic life with this person.
Mhm.
I know it's easy for those who like meeting people, but if some people are a bit introverted, like they don't share much, just wait for the
Yeah.
cue. Examiner will encourage you to speak. Yeah, they don't bite, they won't. They will be like overly smiley and then overly friendly. They're humans. I don't know if it helps or not.
Yeah, like think that they are our friends, or just you talk yourself because it's like online, right?
Yeah, it is online.
So don't think it too much. And yeah, I think most of the time people will get nervous because it is the test.
Yeah, they're too
And
aware of the test day. Yeah.
yeah, and overthinking about your grammar, overthinking about your story. Just make up your story, by the way.
Yeah, make up
But
story. Yes.
the question, because the examiner do not see your story, do not see your stories or something like that. Just see how your
Language.
response, language and response about it, right?
I
Yeah.
want to share one maybe, yeah. This is a
Mhm.
real story as well. So my student, she got part two. Part two topic was describe your favorite pet. She doesn't like pets. She doesn't like animals.
Yeah.
And then I asked her, so what did she do?
Oh
And then
yeah.
she's like, because she got a 7. She got a 7 in her speaking test. So
Oh.
what did she do? Like, this is before we found out what her score was. And this is, well, it was just typical questions, Miss, like what kind of animal, what pet it was, and when did you start to have it? Like, yeah, basically all about the pet. And then she said, you asked me to describe my favorite pet. Since I'm not the biggest fan of animals, domestic ones especially, I have chosen to talk about fish. If I had, so see, the language that she used was conditional situation. So if I had a pet, I would have chosen a
Mhm.
fish. Fish is low maintenance pet. You just need to get her a tank, and then you put her in there, feed her once in a while, let it play by itself. And who knows, at the end of the month, if you don't have enough money, you can fry and eat it. That's what she said. A very useful pet.
Um, Okay. Just feed it.
It's
Oh my God.
okay. But
Yeah.
it addressed the question, right? So the
Mhm.
point is to show off your language skill. It doesn't matter if you make it up or even lie or even sound cruel about it.
Right.
But it
Wow,
addressed the
sounds
question.
interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay, there is a question from Sania from Menti. Kak Fatman, Kak Grace, I have question. If she take the IELTS twice, the scores for the first one is higher than the second one. Can she decide to use IELTS certificate, the first one, to scholarship, or the others matters? Of course. I don't know. You
Right.
can answer it.
Right.
Grace.
So she took
It
2
depends
tests. She
as
took
well.
the test twice, yeah.
Yeah.
But her first score is higher than the other. Can she use the
Mhm.
first one? Is that the question?
Mhm.
Right. The answer is yes. You can use either one, whichever you
Mhm.
like. Yeah.
The best one.
The best one. Yeah, why not?
Mhm. Okay. As long as the period is still not
Within the
more
2
than,
years. Yes.
yeah, within the
It's
2 years.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can choose it, the best score of your IELTS
Yeah.
test. Okay, and next question. Could you please share how many topics that need us to practice every day? Because I try to remember many vocabularies to impress my writing, but the results is still not enough for me. God bless me. God bless me.
Topics, yeah.
Share many topics.
Right.
Mhm.
For writing, reading, or listening, I think if it's all, like for example, for speaking, like in part one, the topics are all about you. So it's like, do you work or are you a student? Let's talk about where you live at the moment. Think about how you would describe the place where you live now, and then work and or study. Think about how you would describe your activities in a short to the point way. The examiner doesn't need your life history, the whole life history. Just make sure that you answer it to the point. So basically, the topics for speaking are usually like that: hobbies, and then the weather. mm,
Mhm.
what else? Computer, fixing things. How often do you always try to fix things when they stop working or break, something like that? And then for part two, related to part three, I guess, like party celebrations, books you have read, movie that you watched recently that you find disappointing. Hang on, what else? Movies, environment. There's quite a lot actually. Like
As
if
many as you
you,
can.
yeah, as many as you can. But
Yeah.
what you can do is to
Mhm.
make like a mind map. Like you put like, if you were here for my reading section, whoever asked the question. So write movies, yeah, and then you can make like a mind map, like people, what words related to people in movies, terminology, what terms are discussed or usually used in movies. So making mind maps like that can take you like 15 minutes max. It won't
Mhm.
take long, I guess. So just choose a topic while waiting for something, while waiting for your Grab to come, like, yeah, yeah, okay. Some people actually have a small notebook or just a phone. Yeah, I personally prefer
Okay.
notebook because you can draw. In your phone, in notes, maybe you can, like type down all the words that come up to your mind, I guess.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Grace, for Q&A session and also
Thank you.
discussion session. It's very insightful. And yeah, good luck for you guys to
Good
achieve a
luck.
best score for IELTS test. Okay, I think the participants already in main room now,
Perfect.
right? Okay. So how's the breakout room session, guys? Gimana breakout room-nya? Coba teman-teman untuk memberikan testimoni lewat emoticon, signs to express your feeling about this session. Apakah mantap? Apakah seru? Oke, sambil mengirimkan emoticon terbaik teman-teman, saya juga ingin mengingatkan untuk melengkapi form evaluasi atau evaluation form because GoPay vouchers will be given to you yang berhak mendapatkan 3 GoPay vouchers bagi yang beruntung, yang dipilih oleh pihak panitia. Oke, ini ada yang bilang insightful, great. Ya, thank you guys. Terima kasih untuk testimoninya. Okay, now I would like to invite Narita as British Council Officer to give us some information about IELTS test locations, providers, and special needs requirements.
Thank you, Fatma. So,
Okay, Narita.
may I
Yeah.
ask for permission to share screen? I only have 3 slides,
Yeah.
so don't worry, I will not interrupt with your Saturday night plan. Definitely.
It's okay, Narita. Yeah, please.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, I just would like to highlight some things. So we've talked a lot about IELTS preparation materials. So at the British Council, actually, we do provide you with free preparation materials for your test to support your test. It's called the IELTS Ready Premium, the one on the left. So I will be providing you with the link. Basically, this is something that you can get when you register and pay with us, with the British Council for the IELTS test. But now we also have the newest feature, IELTS Ready Members. So you don't need to pay first, or you don't need to sign up first for a test. So for example, if you're still hesitant on, I don't think I can get enough score, so you might want to try the IELTS Ready Member. But I will provide you with the link after this. That's the first one. And the second one, this is also new. We now have one skill retake. So that means whenever you feel like you're dissatisfied with one of your skills that might be still below standard, you can retake that particular skill. So for example, my writing is still under 7, while I need to get 7. You can just retake the writing. You still have to pay for this, but at least you don't pay for the whole test. And also you can specifically focus on that particular skills. So you only need to improvise or to dig up with that specific skills that you would like to boost up. So the IELTS 1 skill retake can be taken within 60 days after your original test. But I know that we're still continually progressing to make this IELTS 1 skill retake accepted by our recognizing organization. So please make sure you check with your institution first. Check with your designated universities whether they accept the IELTS 1 skill retake. But for now, I think it's around 60 to 70% of them have already accepted the IELTS 1 skill retake. And these are the locations of the British Council IELTS Test Center. So basically in Jakarta, we have 3. You can look at on the screen. We also have in Depok, Tangerang, Bandung, Jogja, Semarang, Solo, Surabaya, Medan, Padang, Kasar, and Manado. These are all IELTS on computer test center, okay? And we have new test location in Bogor. We cooperate now with the IPB Language Academy. We call it ILA. It's in Taman Kencana, if I'm not mistaken. You can check on Google. And then coming soon, we will be opening test center, new test centers in Denpasar, and the second one in Medan as well. So you make sure you locate these test centers so you can get very nearest access when you try to register for your British Council IELTS. And this is the last information. So we can accommodate if you have some sort of a special arrangement. For example, if you have visual, hearing, speaking, or learning difficulties, and these are the special arrangements that we provide. So basically, we can provide braille question papers, enlarged print question papers, scribe and reader, assistive technology, modified listening CD, hearing impaired version, and also exemptions. I will also put these link on the chat to make sure that you can get more information on this, because you need to supply with certain documents. For example, if it's you need to provide, for example, medical certificate from the doctors or something. Okay, so those are the information that I can provide for you all. So again, thank you everyone for joining this event. I hope you can ace your IELTS test, and of course you can get your LoA and get your Chevening. Thank you.
Thank you Narita for your information dan sudah menjawab pertanyaan dari Yesti ya. Jadi bisa diperbaiki hanya satu section saja, tapi make sure university apakah bisa menerima untuk di perubahan di section tertentu atau skills tertentu itu. Oke, teman-teman, terima kasih masih bersama kami dan saat lagi kita akan melakukan sesi foto bersama. Namun sebelum itu saya ingin memberikan informasi kepada teman-teman semuanya bahwa acara siang ini merupakan rangkaian acara ketiga dari Secure Your LoA Series. Pada sesi webinar pertama, kami membahas soal personal statement, lalu sesi kedua kami juga membahas terkait perbandingan antara three English language test yang sering digunakan oleh applicant seperti IELTS, TOEFL IBT, dan Duolingo. So, teman-teman bisa cek tayangan ulang webinar kami di kanal YouTube CAI dan linknya kami lampirkan di chat box. Oke, baik teman-teman, kami juga mengingatkan untuk melengkapi form evaluasi di akhir sesi acara. GoPay vouchers will be given to you. The lucky ones, ada 3 orang pemenang yang mendapatkan GoPay vouchers. Dan sebelum menutup acara, saya ingin mengajak teman-teman untuk foto bersama. Kami mohon teman-teman untuk turn on kameranya, dibuka kameranya. Oke, cantik-cantik, ganteng-ganteng, silahkan dibuka kameranya. Dan kalau ada kesempatan bisa diganti background-nya yang sudah dilampirkan oleh teman-teman panitia. Tadi ada background yang sama seperti di belakang saya saat ini, agar kita seragam semua ya. Oke, sudah siap teman-teman panitia? Juga sudah siap untuk take pictures together? Oke, dalam hitungan ketiga. 3, 2, 1, smile. Oke, once again. 3, 2, 1, smile. Oke, terima kasih teman-teman. Sudah dapat ya, aman? Aman. Oke. Baik, thank you for speakers, sign language interpreters, and also all the participants. This concludes today's event. Semoga kita semua tetap sehat, segala urusan dimudahkan, dan bisa mendapatkan hasil maupun nilai yang terbaik untuk IELTS-nya. Sampai jumpa lagi di acara CAI berikutnya. Bye-bye. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you,
Waalaikumsalam
guys.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Terima kasih banyak, Kak.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
Raka. Thank you, everyone.
Ya, aku disuruh ribut situ biar dia